Live from Mortgage One Studios, Russ Clark with Chris Larson this morning.
I'm here.
How are you, man?
My voice is a little off.
Yeah, you sound like crap.
Yeah, I've been having all that some sinus crud going on.
Really?
And getting into the lungs, hawking it up is from my voice.
Please share.
No, I got rid of it, so there's nothing left to share.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's going to take a while to build up again, but as a
my daughter went through it. I mean, she was like a whole week.
It's been about
terrible
on a week. Yeah.
Just terrible for a week.
It's fun when to start class this way.
I think my grandkids got it first. The daughter got it. I go over and help a lot, but somehow I guess
this is my sound just went weird just out of this year.
Yeah.
The doc thinks it's
all on you.
Maybe an allergy or something because it's
really?
There's no fever or anything. There's no other symptoms.
I would assume it's related to old age somehow.
Well, except I've been doing it for years. It's this thing that happens every so often. So
maybe
that's just the way it is.
So you've been able to just relax at home. I hope family take care of you, get you a cup of coffee or something.
No, I got work to do.
Yeah, you got work to do. I can relate.
Fortunately, in my classes right now, it's coming near the end of the semester, and I always have my students do presentations.
Really?
To get them
oral presentations in the class?
Yeah, so they have to, just to get them used to speaking in front of people.
It is so
I didn't have to speak much this week because I just got to sit back and let them talk. I'd still talk to them a little bit, but
I'm big on public speaking.
Yeah, so am I.
And getting up and learning it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people say, "Well, I've got the vocabulary, so obviously I can speak. I don't need any other practice." Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And I'll give them a couple little tips on their critique their presentations,
sure,
and their speaking. But I leave it wide open for their style. How they want to present. Get a lot of PowerPoints, but I got a couple poems over the last, about math. It's a math for welders class so far this week. And I got a couple poems, which was cool. I got one guy doing a demonstration about Dungeons and Dragons and how it relates to learning.
Okay. No dances yet?
No, I pointed that out to my students. I said, I've never gotten a dance.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. But I've gotten dioramas before. I've gotten some Steven Spielberg quality videos.
Now this is college students, right?
Yeah.
And I've spent a lot of time training speech and doing all that, and it amazed me. I'm a victim of fear myself of the stage, but I'll go early just to watch them as their social time, and them talking to each other,
right?
And chatting and dynamic and articulate, and then they get in front of the class, man, over, man, something different, and so they've got more in them, to be themselves and to be dynamic. It's hard to translate that comfort, right to the front of the class.
I coached a girl that was doing a speech for Skills USA.
Okay,
she was going to nationals. And she was real uncomfortable just standing, and being in front.
I've been there.
Her voice was fine, her diction, everything was great, but she just didn't know what to do with herself. So I had her come in with her boyfriend and played some waltz music and had her dance with him.
So dancing did come in.
Yeah. While she was delivering her speech.
And how'd that do?
And it worked out well. She learned to, just be more comfortable moving in front of a person. And while she was delivering the speech, and it broke down that barrier because, that's a weird thing to do, is to dance while you're doing a speech. If you can do that,
that's excellent, and it's and that impression on her will make her more comfortable. Next time.
She got eighth in the nation.
There you go.
I'll take credit for that.
Do it. I mean, they learn from they learn from all sources, but it was direct mentorship. It was great. I always have problems, particularly, when I was doing Miss Yuma, the pageants, the girls speak so softly.
Right.
They don't want to speak up in case they say something you didn't hear it anyway. So they say something wrong, you didn't hear it.
And there's a cultural element to that too.
Is there?
Yeah. Women are, still in the back of their heads. I'm not supposed to be standing out and being, the attention and
So
speaking to people, and
it's
especially among the Hispanic culture, it's
I,
very.
and I have a hearing problem.
What was that?
I have, yeah, yeah. And so during the classes, I would literally take my hearing aids out.
Oh yeah, good.
And I say, I've got here, and I would play loud music at times. After they got more comfortable with me and knew I was crazy and accepted it, I would play loud music, take my hearing aids out, and say, "I got to hear you."
Yeah.
To where they're screaming almost. But what that does for them, after everything gets back to normal, their voice is strong, resonant. They don't have to scream anymore.
Right.
But they've learned they can speak up.
Yeah. Even at a young age, my granddaughter, she's 5, and we were in a car, and she was behind me, and she's trying to talk to me. I'm like, what? And then I tell her, you need to be louder. She's, well, I'm not supposed to be loud. So, well, in the house, you're not supposed to be loud.
Yeah, inside voice.
But there's different circumstances.
I never forced that.
Yeah.
I never did.
I was like, when you consider different situations, you're behind me, there's noise in the car. You almost have to shout just to be quiet. And so there's times to be loud and there's times to be quiet. And, but if we didn't go through that, she'd still have in the back of her head, I'm supposed to be quiet, And that's what I'm saying. There's a cultural element to it. There's the way you're raised and things like that.
Well, even in classrooms, teachers always want to take, they have to keep some kind of control.
Right.
So they're always telling you, be quiet, sit down, be quiet. Be quiet. And they do that for their own sanity, not for the educational purposes, but for their own sanity, I would think.
Yeah.
So they're always being shut down. So now stand up and talk. They're like, what?
Right. Yeah.
What? So I find it all fun. I went and talked to the young Republicans the other day.
Oh, that's a great group.
Oh gosh, yeah. They're not quite quiet. They're already standing up.
Yeah. When they ran the meeting last month for the Republican Party, it was really cool to see them get up in front of a bunch of adults they've never met before. Right. They need some practice. There were some issues. I was like, oh, that could have gone better.
Sure.
But just starting, and that's what I was telling my students last night, just starting, just standing up and speaking is where it begins. And that's already a step above.
Of course, there's a lot to learn once you get accustomed to standing and doing. I mean, then you can start, honing the skill of doing something with it now that you can open your mouth.
Yeah. I agree completely.
Got to get you up, open your mouth first. Yeah. I think it was, I forget, golfers, Greg Norman, I think, was the one that his instructor didn't worry about where the ball was going. He just liked to just hit hard. And then once he got that all done, then it's like, we're going to start bringing it in.
Yeah. There is, over the years I've coached, this, that, and the other. And one of the principles was form first. Result later. Once you get the form down, then we can work on making it stronger.
I can't even get the form till I get them comfortable up there. We got to get them to where they're not scared to death. It doesn't take long. I mean, the kids are malleable.
Oh yeah.
But you get the adults that have years of bad habits. It just takes a little longer.
Yeah. Well, even
a little more jaded.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that I've never liked giving my students homework is because they develop a bad habit, and then I've got to break that habit and give them the correct thing later. So when you have them fresh with no ideas in their heads and no background to have to counteract,
it's a lot better.
It's much better.
So have you been following any of the news at all?
If
you don't watch Iran every minute, you're behind.
Yeah.
You're not up to date.
Well, Iran and Trump, they're.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's one and the same.
Yeah, one acts, the other reacts, and then there's a reaction, and it just goes back and forth.
Of course, I spend a lot of my time. Of course, I pay attention to what's going on. But the interesting part for me is how all the different media outlets explain what's going on.
Yeah,
which is so totally wacko different,
mm-hmm.
depending on whether you have Trump derangement syndrome. Or if you have, a love affair with Trump, or if you're really neutral, trying to figure out, is this strategy good?
Are any of those around?
Oh gosh, yes, all of them.
The neutral ones.
You can get them. I think Victor David Hansen
I haven't heard of him. Where's he from?
California. He's a California
No,
guy.
I
He's
mean
a historian, a military historian.
I mean the service. What news service is he from?
Oh, he does podcasts.
Oh, okay.
But just a brilliant guy, and I you know I think his filters are effectiveness and stuff like that, and you can find a lot of them that are focused.
And I think that's where you
effectiveness.
need to look for them is
And
the independent guys.
a lot of them started. I mean, a lot of the ones that are praising Trump are the ones they started off not liking
Right.
him.
You
But
gotta
they're
see his results.
realistic about
Yeah.
results, or realistic about his consistencies.
Yeah.
And yeah, his consistency is that he can change quite often. That's a
Mhm.
consistency.
Well, and he just changed the the deadline for the ceasefire
Again.
Yeah,
And it's been multiple times.
And as soon as he did that, I was like, oh, somebody's gonna say taco. Now,
Yeah, of
now that
course.
you've got that word in my brain,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
like, oh, there it is.
Trump always chickens out.
I really would wish he would just say, no, there's a deadline that started, but I don't know all the details. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
The deadline changes because the people in charge of Iran is constantly
changing.
It's fluid, man. and it looks like right now, and of course everybody is doing their best guess of what's going on and what's happening, is, well, we do know that the leadership, some of the leadership that had made the appointments to do the negotiations are under house arrest.
Right.
Yeah. So it's hard for them to make it.
I have noticed more of the news media is identifying the individual rather than just saying Iran is saying. They're saying so-and-so in Iran is saying, because unless you know exactly which person is speaking, you don't know who's speaking.
Well, and right now it's the Guard, the Revolutionary Guard that seems to have taken control, and they don't outnumber the military. The military and the Guard are two different things. But and it was I think it was Dean that pointed out that the difference between the military and the Guard. It's like during Hitler's time, he had a military,
the SS.
but then the SS was a smaller unit, but everyone was scared to death of them. Yeah. Those were the enforcers. Yeah, they had a lot of power and could go take people out of post and shoot them.
Yeah.
Well, apparently that's I guess the best equivalency that has been explained to me.
And I would think I get the sense. I get the sense the Iranian Revolutionary Guard is scarier.
Well,
because they've been doing it for decades,
and it's been very public in what they do.
Yeah, they just they don't hide, they don't pretend. It's just.
But all this confusion that the Strait of Hormuz was open, and the Iran leadership said it's open, it'll never be closed again.
Right.
And a few ships got through, and then someone came out and that was the Guard that came out and says, those people didn't know what they were talking about. It's closed. And it's closed. Well, they took over. So does Trump change based on that? He better.
Right. Yeah, you have to adapt.
Yeah, you better adapt and see what's going on, because it's so fluid, and the amount of information we get, I don't know, and we can't trust all of it.
No.
We can't, because you're going to get lots of mixed signals. But there's some guys in there already. There's a guy named Tosi TV that has relatives and people living in there, and he's getting information out. So he I can trust that we're getting some information, but he's also, he's also anti Revolutionary Guard. He's anti that. So there's going to be a little bias.
Yeah.
But
everybody has a bias.
Everybody does, and you got to look at that when you're listening to somebody. Is what is their bias, and will they give me straight story? And you can watch mainstream media and realize it real fast.
You can watch any media and find it real.
Yeah,
fast.
Some of it's more hidden, but a lot of the mainstream media is just, they don't care. They're very obvious about it.
When you mentioned the Strait of Hormuz and being closed, being open, be closed, be open. The Iranians captured a couple tankers.
3 of them. I know. Well, they captured 2. They did this. They shot 3 of them.
Yeah.
One of them's disabled, still floating out there.
And
they bring it in.
They asked Caroline Leavitt, what's Trump going to do about it or something like that. And she's like, well, they're not American ships. They're not Iranian ships. So they're on their own, basically, because in which I think is exactly appropriate. Nobody was backing up Trump to begin with. And now they're complaining. Now they want to, and I don't know if they've been complaining. I don't. It might have been just this reporter asking, but no, yeah, you're on your own. If you want to participate, let's participate. But if you don't, go, take it on yourself. That's on
You got to help me with my enunciation of Iran.
Well, with my voice like this, okay.
Okay, you do that. But I have a habit of saying Iran because that's the way it's spelled to me.
I've always said
But
Iran.
but it's Iran.
Yeah.
And I know that because people I trust tell me. But still, when you watch the news, watch anything, you're going to get all those. You'll get both.
Well, decades ago, nobody cared enough to pronounce it. Care how they pronounce it. It was Iran. Everyone said Iran, and I grew up, years ago. It's Iran in my brain, and it probably always will be. But then, but there's a local example. I always said the Keshan for the local tribe here, and I heard a woman on the news say the Quixon tribe.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's ridiculous.
No,
and then I find out, no, it actually
she's probably
is
a tribal member.
Yeah, it was Quixon. I was like,
yeah,
I had been here for years before that.
Really?
By that point, and all I'd heard, so
I get corrected on that too.
That one I did correct myself on because those are local people.
Sure,
I know some.
You don't care about the Iran people. They're overseas.
It's way over there.
I try to get it right. Try to get it right when I can. Some other news that's going on out there. The Pentagon just mentioned that they're out there trying to remove the mines that are set up in that Gulf. Right. Now it's a small strait. It's only 20-something miles.
Yeah, I saw a picture of it the other day. I've always seen it as like the map.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get size reference from the map.
Yeah.
And then I saw an actual photo with the size reference, and I was like, wow, that is tiny.
Well, it is. I mean, 20 miles is not tiny. Try running it. It's nearly a marathon. But the size of it's fairly small. And of course, the pathway, the international pathway in the middle is like 4 or 5 miles.
Because you could see a trail that was a different color water because it's so much deeper than the rest of the water. Part, I was like, that's where the ships have to go through.
Well, yeah, because they draft like 80 feet, 80 feet deep. They have to,
when you consider
that's deep water.
The travelable water there.
Well, and that's the international part. Yeah. It is in the middle. Yeah. Supposedly, it depending on what Iran's telling you that day, because it may be international, but if a guy has a missile and says, I'll destroy you if you go into it, then it's not.
It's mine now.
You own it maybe for a minute.
That's the way it is.
Oh, but they're talking about removing the mines, not just from the Strait of Hormuz. No, it may be only 20 some miles wide, but I don't know what the distance on either side is, how many miles on either side. So it's quite a big project. They said it's going to take 6 months to do that. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't imagine finding them is that easy. They make them hard to find.
Right.
A lot of these mines are not giving out active signals. Right. They've got to locate them somehow. I don't know exactly how they do that, but they've got people working on it now. And there's probably charts out there showing the areas where it's safe to travel. Just don't deviate.
Right.
Don't go away. And around these small islands, there's supposed to be a lot of mines around these islands. So 6 months to get that done. So we'll probably have something there for 6 months helping out. Right. And maybe we'll get some other countries in there, like France or United Kingdom or Spain or something.
At some point, they're going to realize that just for our own benefit, we need to get that open.
They're already having meetings on how to open it, but they're not having any participation, just meetings so that when it does happen, when it's announced that the strait's open, they can all say, see, man, our hard work paid off. We've been talking about it. They'll all take credit, for it. Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them. I see Sean Hannity had a long diatribe about the Iran, calls it a nightmare scenario. Of course it is.
It is, yeah.
I don't think that's
can't argue with that.
Oh, something, and I had a listener send me some articles that said that 26, I think it was 26 or 35 or something, ships have actually, Iranian ships have secretly gone through the passage without the United States Navy noticing.
That sounds like a big number.
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised if 1 or 2 got through.
No, none did. I would be surprised if a small boat got through.
I
Um,
can't believe that many got through.
well, I don't think it's true either. So, but I get it, and it's a newspaper in United Kingdom that's been publishing this since 26 and or 35. I can't remember which one, but the so
Now,
even though I didn't believe it, and I thought, this is just nuts. I looked for it a
well, yeah, you
lot.
got to,
I couldn't find anybody else that
yeah,
says that, and I know they've got surveillance on it constantly. And if the military can't find a tanker that's hundreds of tons uh, and slow,
right.
well, of course they can. Of course, it's not going to be hidden or something. But the United Kingdom, I forget the name of the Daily something, published it that there's been people that have been going right through it. Of course, if it was true, every newspaper in the world would be
Right.
picking up and laughing at Trump.
Right.
Nobody.
Well, I don't know about
Nobody.
every newspaper in the world because there's a lot of a lot of countries out there that are respecting Trump and what he's doing. From all what he did with Gaza,
Yeah.
what he's doing with Ukraine, and there's people out there like he's not my president, but I can see how he's doing some benefit for people. I think it's here in the United States that are mostly the ones that are going to say, "Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that." So,
Yeah.
but yeah, absolutely, and I find that the best way to verify a news piece is how are the people that like him responding? How are the people that don't like him responding? Because if something bad about him was true, Democrats would be all over.
Oh my!
They'd be shouting it from the rooftops.
That's why the Epstein thing isn't true,
Right,
because they would have
exactly.
exposed that,
long
during
before.
Biden.
Yeah.
It was the Daily Mail News is what put that out, and it says that there were 34 oil tankers slipped through the blockade with 19 vessels exiting Persian Gulf past Trump's Navy and another 15 ships entering the Arabian Sea towards Iran. And with 10.7 million barrels of oil. They got exact numbers, which I don't believe a single line of it. I mean, if it was true,
if they had said, little speedboats, personal speedboats,
yeah,
those would be hard to notice.
Or a 5-foot dinghy, but I think they'd see the 5-foot dinghy.
Yeah.
Do you know the equipment they have?
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to mess that.
Right.
A tanker?
No,
don't bother me. I'm looking. Don't bother me. Yeah, no,
that sounds false.
Fake
news.
I think that's a good comment.
My daughter asked my granddaughter, we were, I want to watch a movie because she came over to the house. I said, well, we're going to watch the news first.
And she was happy?
And she's like, is the news real? As well, depends on who you talk to. Some of it's, we actually have the phrase fake news. So we have to.
I'd say it's real commentary. It's real opinion. It's not truthful at times, or not complete truth at times. Maybe half truths at times.
Just crack me up.
Unfortunately, it's a great question. How old is she?
5.
5 years old. She's got that figured out. During this crisis, and it is a crisis, and who knows how long it'll last. The pause in fighting is going to be 3 to 5 more days. Of course, the way that thing gets shifted around, we don't know, and we don't know the reasons. There's a feeling out there.
Just end it.
Many, yeah, I know everybody does. People think that this game of chicken and all that is going on, and wanting Trump to react, or who's in control. We know Trump's in control, and I think that frustrates him.
Yeah.
The Iranians, I think they want him to invade. I think they would rather have a ground war like Gaza or something, and have American casualties and all that.
Right, and I think they'd be, it's like remember the scene in The Darkest Hour, that movie about World War II, when this was a quote when the United States got hit by Pearl Harbor. Winston Churchill said, "Gentlemen, we've just won the war," because that brought us in to the war. And when that happened, everything's gone. I think the Iranians are hoping for something that will cause allies to come to their side and help them out, because they don't have anyone helping them out right now. There's a talk of China giving them weapons and things like that, but nobody's really doing anything to assist them. And I think if the United States put a boot on the ground, there'd be some people saying, "Nah, that's too far." And I think they'd help. I think that's what they're hoping for.
I don't know. Edward, I think he's out running this morning, or something, but he's still, how can you type while you do that? I don't know. But he said the Daily Mail News reported that Queen Elizabeth II had died over 40 times since the 1980s. They also reported that Canadians beat the USA in ice hockey before the game ended. Not a source one can use. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they a tabloid or?
It sounds like it would be.
Yeah.
I think it would be classified as that. I don't know. I'm not very familiar.
Queen,
but when I searched for the article of these ships passing past the Navy, the only one that came up was that one source.
Yeah. And that's another clue.
And the Navy's not even answering the accusations. Like,
right.
We're not going to answer the Inquirer or something.
Right.
It's ridiculous. So I think it was all
fake news.
Fake news. Why doesn't Trump sue him? For fake news. German airline is slashing flights, and not a small amount. They're cutting 20,000 flights.
Wow.
Fuel shortage.
Yeah.
Well, jet fuel.
Spirit Airline is hanging on by a thread too for the same.
Well, they've been hanging on a thread for other reasons. Yeah, this has just added to their misery.
Yep.
Of course, this is a way to get some relief. Now they're asking, well, we're in trouble because of this. You need to help us.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that's just good business.
It is.
It's just,
they're
take advantage of it.
They're trying to do, to provide a low cost airfare and get into that niche, but that means your margins are next to nothing.
Yeah.
And anything can take you down. So.
And I've flown them. I didn't find them that much cheaper, but I don't know. I don't fly that much anymore. So
yeah, I don't
pay attention to that too much. When I flew a lot, I was mostly Delta because they're out of Arizona and stuff. And
yeah, my wife makes the arrangements. She goes, she looks in all the deals and finds the best deal. And there's one that I forget what they call themselves, but they do a really cheap flight, but they do it they'll only fly to a particular airport once a week. They'll only fly that route once a week, and then the next day they fly a different route and so on. So that they gather up.
That's real small.
Yeah, but they gather up the people that want to go to that place that want to fly that route so that they can fill the plane rather than going every day and not have enough customers to fill. So it's you get low cheap tickets, but you got to wait until they're making that flight. So
the airlines have all made some adjustments. I think a lot of them would raise their baggage rates. I mean, crazy high, $50 or something.
Yeah,
for a bag. No limitations except the second bag's more than the first.
Yeah, and people are getting upset. I forget which company recently said, "Oh, you're gonna have to pay for carry-ons or something like that." And I'm not upset by that. If that keeps my ticket down, because I travel really light.
Okay.
So that doesn't bother me.
Stop at Walmart and buy some underwear.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
So I have no problem with paying for, if you're doing more than the person next to you, you're going to pay more than the person next to you. I have no problem with that. But people got used to everything being included, which is great for the person that's doing everything.
And I question their model, but it's up to them. They know what works, what doesn't work. I think people pay attention to the rate, the cost of the flight itself, and they don't look at all the ancillaries.
Oh yeah, there's all
like you got to pay for your own food, you got to pay for your own baggage, you got to pay for everything. And versus another flight may be more money, but it's inclusive. Right. Which one are they going to pick? Well, obviously the airlines are all leaning towards charging for bags. So I would assume that the low fare is what's triggering customers, because that's what the airlines are all going after.
Yep.
They pay attention to what people do.
Yeah.
Let's see, the Representative Seth Moulton, a Democrat out of Massachusetts. I do enjoy following some of the Trump derangement syndrome, and I'm going to put him in that category, because a lot of times it doesn't have anything to do with logic. Logic goes out the window.
Yeah, that's true.
He said this on Tuesday. He says Iran is in a better. See, Edward, it was Iran that time. Iran's in a better position now than before the U.S. and Israel began attacks in late February. That's what
What'd
it
you
says.
say?
Yeah, he says they're in better shape now. The willingness to endure the pain and stick this out. That's what Iran has. They are in a better position today than they were before the war started. And that was on CNN. He said that on CNN. I don't know if he could say that on every station, but he said it on
Yeah.
CNN. And he said, I mean, remember what was happening right before Trump started his war of choice? We were negotiating with the Iranians to curtail the nuclear weapons program. We were asking them to cut back on the nuclear weapons development, which there's so many things wrong with all these statements. One is,
Well, yeah,
they're better off.
that's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. But the next one is we were negotiating with them. Do they understand that they have never honored a negotiation ever? Do they understand that? I mean, that's an easy way that Obama did and Biden did, give them a bunch of money, get them to say they're going to do something that we know they're not going to do. And at least we'll have peace long enough.
Right.
And the voters will love me for a moment.
They're buying peace. Yeah.
Yeah. For a moment.
Yeah.
But they're still weaponizing nuclear.
That's the whole thing. You don't negotiate with terrorists kind of situation.
It's kind of hard to.
But I'm still stuck on the first line there. They're
better position now. Right.
That make you're right. There's no logic to that statement.
There is not
at all.
He's a representative out of Massachusetts, so maybe you need to drive up there and find out what they're smoking, what they're doing. But he thinks they're better off.
I did read an article that said that now they, because of this, they realize the power they have by being able to close up the Strait of Hormuz and affect the world.
It's just not true.
I would suspect they knew that already.
They've been doing it.
Yeah.
Why do you think they spent billions of dollars in so many ways to defend that area or to attack in that area? I mean, they've got they've hollowed out some hills and put missile systems in there,
right,
and torpedo systems. They've taken over those islands in order to fortify them to attack boats. They've been doing this for a long time.
And that's the argument against that statement.
They didn't just come up with it and say, maybe we should try it.
All that stuff was in place.
Always all in place. And everybody knew it.
Because they knew we can shut down this strait and affect the world.
Right. And I love these Trump derangement syndrome comments from the news media that says they shut down the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. had no idea that was coming. Our military was inept because they didn't even think they would do. That was one of the things. They've done it multiple times, and they've threatened it much more than that. And that's where they put all their they put so much in there with mining and with anti-ship missiles as well as torpedoes and all kinds of stuff in order to terrorize everybody that travels through there, because they know it's 20%. In fact, they know it's such a hot point. And it's been that way that Saudi Arabia spent billions of dollars to run a pipeline completely across its country to go over to the Red Sea.
Yep.
Now they can't carry all of it. It's not big enough to carry all their needs, but it covers a good portion. And they're going to build another one alongside it to carry more because they want to get out of that area.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing with Oman has done. United Emirates has done the same thing. They built a pipeline that goes around it, and the Iranians themselves are building a pipeline to bypass it.
Yeah.
Because they know that they've done such a great job of terrorizing it. We don't want to use it either.
Well, they've proven that if anyone else does get control of this, we're screwed. Right. So, nobody can do what they've demonstrated to everybody who didn't know it already, because obviously Saudi Arabia knew it now. If there's something that is that you're dependent on, you need a way around it.
Yeah,
because as soon as that
for national security, and that's what and that's a favorite thing for Trump, national security. Do our chips here so we can't have somebody hold us hostage for chips or hold us hostage for energy, hold us hostage for steel or for lithium. We need to be self-sufficient in all those items, because all of it, our security depends on. You can't build an F-35.
Yeah, we can use the global market to take the tension off of ourselves.
Yeah,
but we need the functionality for ourselves.
Yes,
first,
and we need. Otherwise, we're no better than Europe. And Europe right now is really in a hurt.
Yeah,
that's why you see some people shutting flights down, like the Germans are shutting flights down. They don't have the reserves that we have. They don't have.
Well, and any reserves they do have is split by all the different countries that are there.
Well, and they're
And
talking.
they're all going to be like, well, no, we have this reserve. You can't have any of this reserve.
Well,
whereas with the United States,
they're
our
independent.
reserve
They're
is
independent
our
countries, but they are
reserve,
talking about having a requirement on reserve. That talk's going on right now
Yeah.
for jet fuel and being able to move it around and use it. But they also don't have the exploration. They don't have the mines. I mean, the wells and all that kind of stuff.
They don't have the land. They're so
well. Yeah, and what they could do some, and they don't. They stopped it. They shut it down. They shut down the nuclear. They shut down some refineries. To make the planet green, we have to be beholden to Russia and China and Venezuela. And Iran. It sounds like a bad idea but
well,
but they walked into it.
Yeah, and I'm sure the idea at the time was, we can sell to the people electing us that we're going to keep everything green here.
Yeah,
let them have the dirtiness, let them have the problems.
But the wind blows.
But yeah.
The planet. There's only one planet.
Well, and that's the nature of having an electorate, that doesn't, is thinking of today, here and now, and not everywhere and tomorrow. Is you make bad decisions and you elect people that understand that they're not going to elect it. I'm not getting elected if I tell them the truth, so I have to tell them.
I think there's so much to that. I think you're exactly right. Now,
and we're learning now in the United States, at least, that we do need to look beyond ourselves and beyond today.
Well, but that's what the greenies do. The greenies will look at, like in California, and they say, okay, we're not going to have any cars in the state of California after 2035 that are ICE, internal combustion engine.
Right.
And they'll say that stupid stuff, not knowing how to do it. And it's not their job. Their job is just to make the rules. You're the industry. You figure out how to do it. Which some of that's like either so expensive you're not going to like it, or impossible, or you're stupid.
Yeah.
They don't really, they plan for the results they want, but they never work on anything it takes to get to that point of having those results.
Right.
And that seems to be the whole party. They just want to make stupid policies.
Yeah.
And they don't. But see, the thing about Trump, he's been in industry for so long. He's been a builder for so long. When he sits down and says, we can do this,
he knows how.
He has an idea how. He knows how to do it.
Yeah. And that's the question that people don't answer. How? How do you want to do that? Well, somebody will figure it out.
Well,
and there is, I do like trusting the innovation of the United States. We're brilliant people. And we figure things out, but technology takes time to develop.
It does.
And it, just because we're like, ooh, we could have flying cars and by 2010. No, we can't, and then it was, because they were always predicting flying cars, and then they kept putting that date off. Flying cars will be happening later and later and later.
The electric car came out before Tesla. The GM had that electric car.
Mm-hmm.
People loved it. It was an EV1.
Right.
I drove one. It was kind of fun. It had a limited range, like 100 miles or something, but it was a fun car. It was usable. It was practical. People loved them. GM couldn't make them fast enough. California killed it. California killed it with regulation, because when they saw that car and it being fun, making sense, it worked for in town and stuff. You weren't going to drive cross country with that one, and all that. And they weren't selling them; they were leasing them to people. Because I don't know, prototypes or something. They had hundreds of them out there, but California drove it and saw it. And they says, we're going to make rules that people have to go own these cars at some point, and all that kind of stuff. Well, GM is realizing they don't make any money on it.
Right.
They're just making them to proof of concept, to start developing them. They didn't want to make hundreds of thousands of them or millions of them. And California said, no, this is the only thing we're going to drive. And they're thinking, okay, we lose money on every one of them so far. Well, we're just going to have to kill the program.
Right.
They killed the program because California was pushing it, that it must be produced now.
Right.
So they actually canceled all the leases, brought them all in, and crushed all of them, but like a dozen or something. I mean, they crushed them, and people begged for their cars. They said, no, because California will mandate it and we'll lose money. It was just stupid. I
Yeah.
mean, if government would stay out of some things and let enterprise go, GM may have worked on that and been Tesla before Tesla was.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. Yeah.
It's just stupid. But they saw what a losing proposition.
More often than not, if the government is involved, it's going to fall apart.
But they did the same thing when Tesla got hot.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what Joe Biden did. He took all that money, billions of dollars, away from hardening the grid. The grid was supposed to be hardened. That was a Trump deal that he put in place to harden the grid. So if we get an EMP, it's not going to kill it. And if we kill the grid, millions of people die.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah.
Because they can't get food, they can't get energy, they can't get heat, they can't get air conditioning, all that stuff.
Look at all the movies as soon as the
So he canceled that and said he's going to put in a bunch of EV charging stations, which I think only ever built one. And billions of dollars went into this thing, and that needs to be investigated. But I don't know where. It probably is being investigated. But they did the same thing with the tax credits on it. They want everyone to drive an EV. California does even more. Everyone to drive an EV.
Right.
And Tesla's a great car. I love them. But you're pushing it so fast. The product's not being refined as much as it should be quick enough. I mean, Musk does, where Musk refines like crazy. But then all the companies said, well, if that's the way the government's pushing, we all got to build them. All of them lost money. Most of them all. I mean, GM came out and said, we're going to make 25 different models in EV. No. It's all scrap now.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how much they have left, but most everything they touched just sucked.
And I know Ford has the electric Mustang, but that's it. They're concentrating on.
But what a shame that they destroyed the Mustang name.
Yeah. Well, they still have gas Mustangs, so that's okay. But
but now the same cars running down the street with a name on it that isn't a Mustang.
Exactly. Yeah. That does bug me. But they're concentrating their efforts on one model. They're fine tuning it. They're perfecting it.
It sucks.
Taking it slow and growing the technology rather than, like you said, let's have a whole bunch of models. And
I think what Ford did, and I know that there's an engineer that buys up these cars and takes them all apart, sees what's on the inside.
Oh, okay.
It makes a lot of comparisons.
Yeah.
In fact, he tears apart a lot of Teslas. And you can tear apart a Tesla one year, and 2 years later, tear apart the same model, totally different on the inside. Always innovative, always changing.
Right.
And it's things. The Tesla's designed from a blank sheet of paper, saying we're gonna make a car that works and functional. Ford Mustang, they just farmed out a bunch. I need a motor, I need some wires, and it's all jumbled together. They hook it all together. But they use like 2 or 3 times the amount of wire to put it all together. That they have like 40 or 50 different size bolts or nuts, and Tesla has like 1 or 2.
Right.
They're not clean in the way they put it together. It'd be a nightmare to fix and work on.
Oh, I'm sure.
But all these component parts they work independently with independent chips, where Tesla works from a main structure and controls all of it. Everything. They control it differently because their chip has to communicate with my chip and all that kind of stuff. And so they piece it together using everybody but Ford engineers, I guess. But they find a way to put it all together, and then they call it a Mustang.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's not really a complete Ford product like Tesla's a complete Tesla product.
But that's
a different thing.
And I don't have to work on it. I'm not going to buy one. But I like that what they're doing is giving the entire industry an opportunity to refine their product and develop the growth of the industry.
Well, you say they're going slow. They just they put a cap on it. They said in the first year we're going to sell like 50,000 of them. That's it. They couldn't sell 50,000. So they're going slow.
I've seen a few. Yeah,
there's a few of them around.
I haven't counted anybody, but
Ford. A lot of the Ford dealers hated them because they had to buy them to be part of the Ford program, and nobody wants to buy it, or not nobody. Very few.
There's a few out there.
Yeah. Someone's doing well with them. Hyundai actually does well with their electrics. Yeah.
I haven't heard of that one.
Some of the others are nightmares. But they were forced into it because the government kind of was going that way and doing rebates. And this is our future. Biden did that big meeting of all the EV people together, except somehow he forgot to invite Musk. because Mary with GM was the trailblazer and is the future of EVs, and she's the one that's doing all the work, and that's GM. which was
Do
just
they
stupid.
have an electric vehicle?
Oh yeah, but they're not. They were supposed to have 26 of them by now.
Huh.
26 different models. I don't know which model they have anymore, but they had a Cadillac. They had a couple of them, but they run.
Mm-hmm. That's
I,
that's a start.
I don't know. I can't say much more about it. I don't know. I'm sure they're nice vehicles. I'm sure they're nice, but why would I buy it? You know, you're not mass producing them. I don't think your heart's in it, and it's
Right.
not. Ford's heart's not in it. In fact, that's not part of their future like growth part. In fact, they're kind of getting away from cars, going more into the trucks and vans and stuff more
Yeah.
heavily.
That's
what they're good at.
they're figuring out their lane there, but
Yeah. And then
they're staying ready. They're
of
staying
course, everybody
involved.
makes something they call a Tesla killer. Yeah, this car's gonna be a Tesla killer.
I don't think that's happening.
Well, it hasn't yet.
No.
And they say we've got a better battery. It's a Tesla killer. I got a better car. It's a Tesla killer. It's a bunch of bluster.
Yeah. Well, and I haven't actually heard that reference
had no
for a while.
Tesla killer.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had,
because I think they're so dominant in the industry right now that, and everyone else, like you said, they're just kind of trying it.
They're putting money and stuff into it, but they're losing a lot of money. And I remember the headlines when everyone was getting into it is people would the news would say Tesla's losing market share rapidly. Okay, well they've had 100% of market share. if somebody sells a few cars, they lost. They don't have 100% anymore.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean their sales are down.
Right,
because their sales were growing like crazy.
Yeah,
and they were saying they're losing market share.
Yeah, and we went last time we went through California. Yeah. There's Teslas everywhere. We were doing.
I think they're like 7% or something.
We made up a new game, like slug bug. When you'd see a VW, you'd hit.
Yeah, I've been hit many times.
We were doing Tesla tag, and smacking each other when we'd see a Tesla, and then with the Cybertruck, we'd get a punch. Oh my goodness, we were getting hurt. There were so many Teslas everywhere. The whole car was going.
There's quite a few of them in Yuma.
Yeah, there's getting to be much more. Yeah, but California is all in on the Tesla. It seems like Phoenix. There was a bunch in Phoenix last time we went through Phoenix. They're really getting out there.
Yeah, you see them all the time. There's no radiators. Yeah, it's 7.7 to 9.9%. Of all light duty vehicles in California. Tesla account for that. That's a lot.
Yeah. For one company.
Yeah. And people said the electric would never work and all that, but California makes it work. Although I've had people complain about California and that like some of the charging stations are so packed it's hard to get into them.
Really?
You need a reservation. We don't have that anywhere I've seen. In fact, they seem to be overbuilt everywhere. Like they're expecting a big rush. Yeah. EV dominance despite a dip in overall market share. See, they keep putting the market share. Tesla's held 56% of the California EV market.
Really? I'm surprised it's that low.
Yeah, well, there's probably 50 players anymore. I don't know. I mean, BMW, Porsche, Cadillac, they all have them.
When I think electric vehicle, though, the only company that comes to my mind is Tesla, and then
I think the Hyundai has got a big percentage too. They're doing well.
Interesting,
and it's a good looking car. I was surprised Toyota didn't do it. Toyota had that Prius for every which was highly successful.
Yeah,
and it was a hybrid,
right?
Gas and
that seemed like
it was bulletproof. It was
the way
great.
Everyone was going to go was hybrid.
And I thought they would go all the way electric right away, and they didn't.
Right.
They didn't. And they've been focused on this battery, this solid state battery for years. Like this is the future, this is the future, this is the future. And they just kind of stalled on that, on that EV thing. Although they still make the Prius, still highly successful, and still a great little car. It just seems to hold up.
It feels like they found what works for them, and okay, we're good.
They did,
and that's fine. That's what they want to do.
Let me see. Here's an article that's revolutionary. Iran war driving up costs, disrupting supply chain for companies. Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
It has been driving up costs, and we feel the most in oil, gasoline, and gasoline in Yuma is like 450, 460 a gallon, and diesel's up like $2 a gallon
Crazy, yeah.
from where it was and all that. So, and that raises consumer goods, travel, mining. They put mining in here. It's driving up costs, disrupting supply chain, and harming customers. I don't know if we're having a supply chain problem like we did during the Biden years. Remember that when it was everything was supply chain, we couldn't get products because supply chain.
I don't remember that being an issue.
And that's part of the egg problem and a lot of other stuff. But I don't think we have a supply chain. It's expensive.
No.
But,
yeah, everything I wanted to purchase has been in the stores, so
yeah,
I haven't noticed that.
Well, that's just
prices, but that's
Bud Light and hamburger is all you're after. I imagine they probably have that.
I like that Madero.
Oh, is that what you're after now?
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Anheuser-Busch owns that too, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the European Union is and I mentioned this briefly about the jet fuel stockpile.
Right.
They're considering possible requirements for countries to hold stockpiles of jet fuel, which would potentially be redistributed based on regional shortages tied to the U.S.-Israel war with Iran. Notice how they say it's U.S.-Israel war, but they're opening up the Straits of Hormuz. They're having meetings on it all the time. We're going to open it up. Which I don't know how they do that with rhetoric. If we talk about it enough, it's just going to happen, and we'll take credit.
And yeah, they had forget who was. I think it was the Daily Show was interviewing for somebody, and they were like, and we need to be peaceful. We need to talk to people.
Right.
If you're going to go to violence, nobody's going to talk. And I was like, but people don't show up to talk until you've been violent. That's we've got centuries of history behind us to say that if you just want peace, you're going to be taken over by the people that want violence. It just doesn't work.
Iran's been counting on them to do that tactic forever. For 47 years, they've been taking advantage of it. They've been agreeing to them. Oh yeah, that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. And then when they leave the room, we're going to do what we want.
Right.
It's and all these countries think they're getting somewhere. We're getting these negotiations figured out. No, they're going to kill you. Yeah.
Well, in our country, where we have checks and balances, and everyone has a role to play, and so on and so forth. We were based on the principle that if we need be, we all have the power to kill each other.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
But that's when everything else fails.
You mean the Second Amendment?
Well, that's where the Second Amendment comes from. Is the
yeah, we can't be controlled by government as much as they'd like.
Right. But because no matter how powerful the government is, each one of us has the power to kill somebody else, and we can take them down and put somebody else.
The idea behind our country was that people have the power, and we control the government.
But ultimately,
governments always take over.
But how does the people control the government that doesn't want to be controlled? We have the power to end them.
Yeah.
And that's the nature of human being.
That's what the Constitution comes in. It was all the safeguards in order to make us do it. Of course, what government tries to do is get rid of those safeguards because it makes it too hard for us to get things done. Yeah. And we're stupid enough to go along with it at times, like the Patriot Act and stuff. Yeah, I wasn't vocal about it.
Yeah, there's there's always a trade-off between security and freedom.
And I think our founding fathers saw that and said, if you give up liberty for security, you deserve neither.
Right. Yeah. Was that Franklin?
I don't remember.
I think it was.
But they were right.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we're listening to it all.
Well, and it's a hard balance to find. You want to be secure. You want to be free.
It's constantly negotiated. It's constantly looked at.
Yeah.
But little by little, our government tends to lean towards grabbing a little more power, and then they dictate to the populace instead of the populace dictating to the government.
Right. And that's the nature of every organization. They always
that's why they fail.
Yeah. Well, and that's we look at history and everything goes. It's
because human nature is to want liberty. Human nature is to want freedom.
Right.
But somehow we find a way.
We also want power.
I don't want it. Power over myself. I mean, I don't want to control you.
Right.
But you're right. A lot of people do want that. They want to have power, and we see that fight every day. And it's getting
Well, and
outrageous in our country.
the pendulum swings. Things go to an extreme in one direction, and it doesn't work. It starts swinging back the other way. It goes past good and into the other extreme, and that's just the nature of things.
So. We talked about Biden's charging stations. I said they built a couple of them. Actually, there were 7, according to Edward. There were 7. 7.
Wow. Get your facts straight.
And it cost, yeah. Thanks. A cost of $151.3 million per charger.
But there's 7 of them across the whole country.
That seems a little higher than market, but
well, that was the point at the time, was the market couldn't support.
But it could
these charging stations in because
it could, but Tesla
the industry wasn't big enough.
No, Tesla was building them Tesla was building them like crazy. But Biden refused to use the word Tesla in his organization.
Mm-hmm.
He could have just done a contract with Tesla, and it would have been less than 151 billion.
Yeah. And, well, they were likening it to when gas automobiles came out. There weren't any gas stations anywhere. Nobody would build the gas station because there weren't any cars, but nobody would buy a car because there weren't any gas stations.
But the private industry took care of it himself.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, and that's what could have happened with the electric vehicles, but they wanted to they wanted to push the electrical vehicle expansion
so faster than practical
than the industry was supporting. And,
yeah. The quote was from Benjamin Franklin about liberty, by the way.
That's right.
And you were right. And it, thanks to Edward, he actually gave the real quote. I butchered it. Probably
phrased it.
Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. And he did that while he was running. He's done now. He's run 10 miles this morning. he'll do 10 with the kids.
So he's listening, researching, and writing while he's running.
Something about Edward you need to know, though.
That's crazy.
He cheats. He has, I'm sure, mastered artificial intelligence as it exists today, and he probably can accomplish all this without missing a step.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he have his assistant in the car right next to him while he's?
He has all the assistants he ever wants, but I think he enjoys his alone time while he's running. He probably doesn't have that
because we're not supposed to call her a Nazi. What did he say we should call her?
Führer. I wouldn't call her an assistant. I think that would make her mad.
That's true. Yeah.
Führer, she could probably live with. Call her an assistant. You might see her. Yeah, you'd be about happy about that, like you would as Hillary Clinton showing up.
I give all credit to the assistants. They're the ones that make things happen.
Well, for somebody to be able to wrangle in Edward, and
that's a powerful person.
Yeah. But smart people will realize they need a powerful person to do it. I work with managers all the time. The managers that hire people dumber than they are because they want to be the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
I just ain't got time to find that many people. I would rather have smart people around me.
I heard a phrase the other day: if you're the smartest person in the room, go to a different room.
Yeah, you better change rooms.
That's how you get better. That's how you get smarter. That's how you grow.
And I don't know who said this, but and I Lincoln Day dinner. Were you at Lincoln Day dinner?
Yeah.
Okay. We auctioned off that dinner with Edward.
Right. Yeah. That was
amazing.
I had no pocket to get involved in that.
No. That thing went crazy. And I sold that on, if you go to dinner with somebody that's smarter than you, you should pick up the bill because you got more to gain.
Right.
And you can't have anything more to gain than to go out with this guy, believe me. And I talked just briefly about what I do know about him. There's probably more mystery than there is knowledge. But it went crazy.
Yeah.
People wanted it.
Yeah.
Of course, we'd already.
It'd be fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah.
One, it was a tour of
Mount Vernon
with somebody that's on the board.
Yeah.
And then a dinner with him at one of his restaurants.
Right.
Which is top notch, I'm sure.
Right.
And just hanging with the dude.
Right. And somebody that's works internationally on business concerns and stuff. Yeah. And I didn't know if people would latch on. They did.
Yeah.
I mean, the bidding took off. I forget what
I don't remember how much it went.
I think it was $1,500 or something. Yeah. And you had to travel yourself. You know, you didn't get airfare. You had to go to DC.
Yeah.
And Yeah, it was a fun bit. And and Edward has a 15-year-old daughter, Madison, that was all confused about it. He says, "You mean you had to pay $1,500 to get him to go out with you?" And he says, "No, they paid." See, that's a true daughter, right?
That's funny.
Why would somebody do that?
That's funny.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Because the great part is, and gosh, I've known them for a long time now, but known of them. Um, but Madison's just like he is,
Oh,
which
yeah.
which would be tough to control. So there you go, Edward. You got that going for you. You built a monster.
I tell new parents all the time, the problem with raising an independent child is you end up with an independent child.
That's exactly right. And Madison's whirly, independent, and
that's awesome.
And I think she's been getting older and gaining some confidence and gaining some stuff, and she's going to be tough to handle.
Those are the kind of people you watch. What direction are they going to take the world?
It's exciting to watch where she's going to go.
People are going to follow that.
I think so. Yeah. I think there's high hopes for her. She's in high school, but she's on a rowing team. Have you ever
really
a rowing team? Now that's an East Coast thing,
right?
I don't think we see that much out here.
That's like the epitome of I'm on top kind of thing, because rowing team.
It's a different kind of a sport.
Yeah.
But she's the one that is calling the cadence.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if they call it cadence, but that's what it reminds me of. But
I think
the ones that say stroke, stuff like that. But they love her, and she's with the top-rated team, and she's won some awards and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's something.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so I think that takes some confidence too, right there. I mean, what a build, team sports, and it is a team sport, all that stuff builds confidence, and she found something she was good at, and because she picks that up from her dad too, telling people what to do. That's where you get that. Yeah, I'm a professional, tell people what to do kind of guy.
Yeah, there you go.
Let me see. According to CENTCOM, in the Middle East, U.S. forces deployed across the Middle East are amongst the strongest and most lethal ever. That's according to U.S. CENTCOM said on Wednesday. I think it's scary. That. I think it's scary what we can do.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, just at the air show that I went, I didn't go to this last one. I went to the one the year before. And when I saw what they showed us, what they're willing to show us, the capability of their equipment, I was like,
and that's just what we know.
Yeah. I was like, man, that is terrifying.
The command shared a montage of images, probably what you're talking about, showcasing soldiers, Marines, airmen on duty across the region amid the war with Iran. U.S. soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, guardians, and coast guardsmen are deployed across the Middle East. I guess I didn't realize I hadn't heard mention of Coast Guard before, but it makes sense that they're there as part of the strongest and most lethal military the world's ever known.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Wait, I mean, they got my attention big time in Venezuela.
Yeah,
it's like, you did what?
Yeah, well, and those were some of the elite forces, but just in the regular military, I was in the Marine Corps in the late '80s. My son joined the Marine Corps in the 2000s, and the difference in capabilities in that one generation was incredible. He was telling me things that they were doing, the things that they could do, what they were training for. Mm-hmm. That blew me away. I was like, no, we didn't even think of things like that. It was just the equipment they had, especially like the personal on their body equipment that they carried with them was far above anything that we had. Started making you think of futuristic soldiers, but it was now. And now he's been out for several years, because I'm getting old. He's getting old. But
he's out.
I can only imagine what they're doing now. We're the best trained, the best equipped, the best funded by far across the planet.
My son's in the military. He won't even tell me what he does.
He could tell you, but
he's afraid I'd talk about it. I wouldn't do that.
Well, you just did.
Yeah.
Before he made.
Well, and now he's a lieutenant colonel. And
oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Which was a disappointment because he was going to get out in 20 and come home,
Uh-huh.
spend some time working with me. And I don't know where he would have gone. I don't think he would have stayed in Yuma. But the last 6 months that they're in the military, you can go work at it in civilian life
Right.
and the military continues your pay
Right.
while you're transitioning.
Right.
It's a different transitioning than under Biden. I don't want to confuse that.
Yeah, let's make that clear.
It's a different transitioning.
Yeah.
And I thought, that would be great because I'd love to
Yeah.
have him here for that and see where he wants to go, maybe have a small business or something. But he decided to take the colonel route, and the colonel route is not going to get out in 20.
Right.
You know,
You got to obligate yourself.
He's going to stay longer. He hasn't been in 20 yet, and he's lieutenant colonel. I don't.
That's impressive.
I don't know when. I mean, he got it on time. I mean, when they're, there's a certain amount of time that you have to spend in each rank.
Right.
And maybe
depending
that's
on the MOS. And,
I don't know what it depends on. When maybe wartime or something changes.
That
but
changes it too.
But so much time as a first lieutenant, second lieutenant. I don't know what it all is. And
what branch
captain?
Was he?
Air Force.
He's in the Air Force.
Yeah, it's an alternative to military, but it works out.
Yeah, years ago, we would always, especially Marines, we make fun of everybody, but
sure,
we'd say, oh, Air Force, they could just put their planes on autopilot or remote control,
right?
And now they do with the drones,
of course. and he actually works in that right now. Now he was a commander of a squadron of the Ospreys. He actually
those are impressive.
He set up 2 squadrons. He set one up in England, and he set up one in Japan. And after he set it up, he was there for 2 years. Running the maintenance side of things, and then they made him squadron commander. Which only deals with like special forces and stuff. I mean, they're kind of like a taxi and Uber service for all the special forces, and they could be filled with Marines, Army, Rangers, SEAL teams. It doesn't matter. They do that. He doesn't really tell me, but he had to have that same clearance and all that. So then he doesn't talk to me after that.
Right.
I'm not gonna tell you, Dad. You got a microphone. I check with him sometimes.
I won't talk about it. I'll just talk about that. I can't talk about.
Yeah, I know when he was with that squadron in England, there was some activity in Africa, and some of the Ospreys got shot up, and so I started doing some digging. I found out they came out of England.
Oh,
so I checked around, and it was actually from his base. So I checked with him. I said, "Tell me about him." He says,
"No.
How do you know about that?" What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Don't talk to me.
Yeah, if you can find out that much,
I can either I can't confirm nor deny. He didn't want to talk
that
about
might be why he's not colonel. He's got a dad with
a
terrible security clearance.
It's dangerous if somebody sees that he's talking to me.
Yeah.
And then I say something on the air, and let's say I get it right. Edward would be shocked for number one, but let's say I get it right. I guess it might get him some questions. In fact, they did question when he was in Phoenix. He was in Phoenix when he was a lieutenant, and he was like part of one of the squadrons of F-16s up there. He was one of the maintenance officers, for a squadron up there. And one of his commanding officers came in one day and threw some papers on his desk where they have been listening to me, and I'd been mentioning him.
Oh, really?
And I was mentioning my daughter and stuff too. And he says, "Yeah, it looks like your sister's doing well."
That's funny.
Oh yeah. So he's like, "Hey, Dad,
shut up,
man. Just don't talk about it, man."
Yeah. Well, and
I can't help it.
It's tough, the most important things in our lives. We want to talk about them, but we have to remember we're on the air. Everyone's hearing it, and we're hearing details.
I don't have
about
that filter.
These other people,
Chris. I don't have the filter.
Yeah.
I'll talk about.
I've been developing the
kids. In fact, when I meet people, some people will come over and say hello to me. They've never met me, and they ask me how my son's doing, how my daughter's doing, and stuff like that. Because I do. I think it's important when you're listening to someone's opinion, something about them.
It does help, yeah. There's some context to it, yeah.
So I always throw something in them on personal life or something what's going on, and what I believe in. Do I have Trump derangement syndrome? Or, all that kind of stuff. I think is important. And I always enjoyed that about Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah,
you always knew, even though it wasn't a big part of his show. but you always knew where he stood with his personal life and all the other stuff, which made him more interesting, actually. The Virginia court has declared the redistricting vote unconstitutional.
Oh, good.
In one day.
Good.
It took a whole day. What took them so long? And of course, that was the redistricting stuff where, we're having this redistricting.
That's the Virginia Supreme Court, though.
Virginia. Yeah.
So I wonder if that's going to come into play in Texas when they do that.
Oh, it has nothing to do with Texas. Texas has already been cleared. There have already been lawsuits. They've all been settled. They've been done. That was done. Same with California. It's been done. They went through that and they gave it a green light.
Why was Virginia's declared unconstitutional?
Well, because they broke the Constitution. In the Virginia Constitution and stuff, they did a lot of stuff. Well, let me see. Jay Jones is the Virginia Attorney General. Now, he's an he said the ruling from the activist judge will immediately be appealed by his office. Now, he's a Democrat.
Right.
That activist judge, of course, that's what you call a judge doesn't agree with you.
Right.
Which I think.
Well, both sides do that.
Well, yes, but I think by him calling him an activist judge, which I think he's following the law, really blurs what an activist judge is.
Yeah, because
an activist judge doesn't necessarily disagree with you. So it's just one that has he's following some kind of ideology over the law.
Right.
Well, this judge, Virginia Circuit Court Judge Jack Hurley, followed the letter of the law. So he called him an activist to follow. He's
a conservative judge.
He's too concerned. Yeah. He's too concerned with the actual language.
Come on.
You're too literal.
Yeah.
Was it
open your mind, man.
Which Superior Court judge said that? Was that Ketanji Brown or something that said you're too literal?
I don't know.
Well, that's what you need to be at that point. That I mean,
I do remember it. I remember what yours the event, but I don't remember who said it. But yeah, I had the same thought. I was like, you're supposed to be literal. That's,
right.
You're supposed to look at what the law is.
Right.
What precedent do we have? What exists.
You don't make or bend the laws, you enforce them.
And I was like, that's the perfect definition of activist.
Yeah. So this, Jack, he ruled on Wednesday, one day after the Democrat redistricting referendum passed, that all votes for or against the proposed redistricting amendment were unconstitutional, citing rules that impose certain requirements that the referendum did not meet. They didn't follow the rules, basically. So they didn't.
He didn't answer the question of whether it's constitutional to redistrict. It was
correct
how they ran the campaign.
They actually opened up voting on it after a lot of people had already voted. Yeah.
That's interesting.
The General Assembly passed the amendment for the first time. Well, according to Cuccinelli, he's the CNN conservative. He said Virginia has a process to amend its constitution that has the General Assembly pass a proposed amendment and then have a state election and an intervening election where the new House of Delegates was elected and so forth. And then the new General Assembly comes back and has to pass the exact same amendment. Okay. The General Assembly passed the amendment for the first time, called the first passage very creative on Halloween. Well, these same Democrats 5 years ago gave us a 45-day election. So voting began December 19th of 2025. Over 1 million people had already voted before first passage. So the voting was already underway.
And
they want to treat the election as an intervening election when they're going to have very difficult time with that. So they didn't even get into the legality on how it broke the Constitution, because their Constitution states that they can't, the districts have to be concise to an area versus gerrymandered all over the place.
Right.
It doesn't use the word gerrymandered, but it's got to be this would not do it. Well, the Virginia Attorney General says Virginia voters have spoken, and an activist judge should not have veto power over the people's vote. We look forward to defending the outcome of the last night's election. Apparently, all the votes came in before the largest county. The largest county waited until they saw what the votes were, and then started releasing their votes. And the thing barely passed. It was like 51-49, which just smells of a possible problem.
Right.
Doesn't mean there is, but it would make me suspect.
Yeah. Well, voting before voting is open, raises questions too. So.
Let me see. Democrat strategist Adam Parkhimko. Said Virginia voters spoke, MAGA lost, and now a rogue Republican. See, they're throwing rogue activists for he took an action that they did that was totally outside the bounds of the rules,
Their own rules, yeah.
their own rules, and said, you can't do that. You activists. That's what I'm going to call the cop next time I'm doing 90 and a 65. You activist cop. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. And now the rogue Republican judge is trying to override the will of the people because they didn't like the outcome. That's not democracy. That's desperation. Full confidence in higher court will overturn the nonsense quickly, and the will of Virginia's voters will prevail. I don't know. I mean, nothing surprises me anymore, right. But I somehow doubt.
Well, the way,
that it's going to be overturned.
And it's a procedural thing like that. This is the procedure for doing what you want to do. You didn't follow that procedure. Therefore, it fails. That is an easier conversation than whether or not you have the, you can gerrymander or whatever. But
I need to hire Madison. I don't think I can afford her, but I need to hire her. She put together an Air Force poster real quick that shows a cargo plane like C-130 or something being loaded. An Air Force guy standing there says, "Join the Air Force. Why get shot at?"
That's funny.
Uber Lyft experience preferred. We are the best damn gear movers around. Delivering victory. Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice
supporting
line.
The mission so others don't have to.
That's funny.
I'm going to send that to my son. I mean, he doesn't like me a lot anyway. But I mean, it's me. If I said that to him, he would be real curious where that came from. I think I will. I'm going to have to save that one.
So is she listening to you too? Or
if her dad's torturing her,
That's funny.
Yeah, if her dad's torturing her, like, oh, geez, we're going to do that. Let me see. The Senate GOP rams through blueprint to bankroll ICE Border Patrol through the end of the Trump era. Now, the left has never given up on this. We're still in a lockdown or shutdown or government shutdown.
Yeah, but not the part of the government that the Democrats want. The ICE is funded.
Well, yeah, I know. But the rest of Homeland Security is up in the air and all that stuff. But and they're not going to come off of it. I mean, they're like, we don't care.
Right.
We don't care. And even with public opinion being that it shouldn't do it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Same with the SAVE Act. Public opinion doesn't matter to them.
And there hasn't even been as much on the news about ICE. Not even the media is backing them up anymore. They're going to have to at some point fold because people are not backing up this move.
I don't think you're right. I don't think they have to, and I don't think they're going to. I think they're just they're stuck on stupid. and I don't think it bothers their voting bloc.
Well, it will. It's hard to call. Because there's so much of their voting bloc that just hates Trump. And they're going to do whatever the Democrats do. Because
they hate Trump because the press is constantly droning about nonsensical stuff that he's terrible, 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 and they just buy it.
Yeah,
they're in that bubble. But there's people escaping the bubble all the time. Yeah. It's coming true, and right now it's particularly tough with Iran going on and all this. And the gas prices higher. They're like, well, maybe there's something to that Trump derangement syndrome. I think I'll join. But it'll happen. It'll end, and the economy will keep booming, and the gas price will come back down.
Yeah,
and maybe they'll.
Well, and when you look at when they're talking about the prices of gas is going up, bringing all the other prices up, but we know why, and we know as soon as the Iran issue ends, it's going to come back down.
It's not that the oil doesn't exist. It's just that it's being locked out because of Iran.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can look to the future of that ending, but some of the other stuff that Democrats want to do, we can't. That's going to make things bad forever.
Right.
Well,
the Democrats flooded the United States with illegal immigrants, no question. Right. Trump shut it off, and then he sent ICE out to do their job. Which Biden, at the same time he was flooding America, was handcuffing ICE and not allowing them to do their job fully. Just doing very little. They were doing a minor part of it. frustrated a lot of ICE officers. And I've talked to at least one that explained to me that,
and I have Border Patrol connections, and they were overwhelmed during the Biden era,
and they weren't allowed to do things. Yeah, and they weren't allowed to talk to me or anybody else. I mean, it just didn't say me, but they couldn't talk to anybody. But right now, to fund them, to get this thing over with, they're going to have to go to a reconciliation process, budget reconciliation, to get around the Democrats who just are stuck on it. We're not going to fund them.
Right.
We're not going to fund them because they would like to see ICE eliminated, and they would like to see the illegals stay here.
Right.
For some reason. Right now, because of the actions that are going on, and I think contribute to it, but the crime rates are down.
Okay.
All over the country, historic lows, crime rates. And the crime rates are down in Yuma year after year. And I think ICE and Border Patrol have something to do with that. And maybe they haven't caught every criminal, but the criminals know that the ICE is watching. So they're probably being more careful, I would think. Well, the first major step, unlocking the budget reconciliation process, Republicans are diving into once again after Democrats refuse to fund ICE and Custom Border Patrol protection. And there's a couple senators, though, Rand Paul, Lisa Murkowski, are voted against the budget blueprint, which they're coming up with.
Okay.
Senate Minority Leader, I'm sorry, Chuck Schumer. He's still around. Panned Republicans for moving to spend billions in tax dollars rather than addressing rising costs. You know who's really spent billions was the Biden administration, bringing them all in here and throwing money at hotels and food
and into their pockets.
Oh, good Lord!
Yeah.
All that's being cut off, and they want to fund ICE, which even Biden funded ICE, but it's bigger now. They have hired more ICE agents.
Well, they had to get the job done.
Well, according to Chuck Schumer, America is crying out for relief from high costs, and you're adding $140 billion to an agency that nobody, two groups, Border Patrol and ICE, nobody respects in this country. Nobody.
He doesn't. But there's
how do you get nobody? Is that hyperbole a little bit?
Yeah.
But
they had DHS had a booth at the fair.
Yeah. Loved it.
Nobody was disrespectful to them.
Yeah.
People were talking to them. So I don't know who the nobody is
that
doesn't respect the DHS, but people do.
John Bassaro, a Republican out of Wyoming, Senate Majority Whip, he said, today's Democrats are a rogue and radical party. You deserve better than reckless Democrat hostage taking. You deserve the tools and support from Congress necessary to carry out the mission Congress has given you. Our country depends on you. Republicans want to front load the agency with more than $70 billion out of concern that Democrats would never agree to allocate taxpayer dollars to them again. So lawmakers dash through the amendment vote after amendment vote, with Democrats teeing up several add-ons to the budget blueprint designed to attack Republicans, of course. Part of the fun of this game. Democrat amendments targeted affordability, economic issues in the country, and they all failed across party lines. John Kennedy, Republican out of Louisiana, I love that guy. He's just fun to listen to. He pushed a reconciliation package, but something to put on there. But the White House wanted to keep it narrowly tailored, didn't want to add a lot. He wanted to put the SAVE Act on there.
Kennedy did?
Yeah.
Interesting.
If you don't want to vote for it, don't. I'll ask you is think about it, to trust our rules committee, to follow your heart, take your brain with you, because American people, both Democrats, Republicans, Independents, are questioning our elections. It failed. Didn't get it through.
But Kennedy was supporting the SAVE Act.
Yeah, of course. Well, he's a Republican.
Okay, I'm picturing somebody different then.
Okay, he's out of Louisiana, the old Southern guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm picturing somebody totally different then. There's a lot of them to keep track of. But there's not as many. There's like 3 that resigned in the last couple days or something.
Yeah, 3.
I was like,
3 legislators.
What is going on?
But Kennedy's got great sense of humor and great Southern, comments and stuff.
He's a big white guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember
I was picturing something.
He said something the other day that really struck me. But he said, and I'm not going to quote it exactly, but how slow that the Senate moves. Senate moves very slow. Sometimes it may take them a month to get absolutely nothing done.
I heard that. I heard that. Yes. Yeah.
That's funny. That's a guy that can put it into plain language so you understand.
And he's
it.
got that voice. Well,
yeah.
I know who you're talking about now.
Well, I'm disappointed they didn't get the save in there, but they'll get the. And it's John Thune. I don't think his heart's in it. He's trying to not get it passed, but look like he's trying at the same time.
And I never heard of John Thune until this whole Save Act thing came up. But
I wish I hadn't heard of
him. When they confirmed Robert Johnson got the Speaker of the House, and is it Robert Johnson? It's not sounding right in my brain when I say it. The Speaker of the House.
Johnson.
Yeah,
Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson.
Oh.
Yeah, Robert Johnson wasn't sounding right. Mike Johnson. Yeah. Everyone was like, "Who is this guy? Where'd he come from?" He was like the bottom of the barrel, the first. Out of like 6 votes, we finally got somebody in. He's not going to last, and he's proven himself. He's standing up. He's making some tough calls and leading the House like he should. And then this Thune guy comes along, and he just doesn't seem to be. I'm not sure.
Well, they all think
how he got into the leadership.
He got voted in.
It's just I'm a little again,
is he better than Mitch McConnell?
I don't know.
It's
just I'm equating it sometimes to the way I feel about Trump with this Iran thing. Just do it already. Just finish it. Stop. Say if you wanna filibuster, fine. Put your diaper on and stand up and start talking. But if you're not willing to do that, we're moving on. But he's not doing that. I really wish he would, because that would end it all.
It would. Madison did. Madison is listening today.
She's
on. Yeah, she was on free period, so good for her.
Yeah, it's a couple hours early.
Edward sends me a news alert. Justice Department reclassifies state licensed marijuana as a less dangerous drug, which sounds weird that the Justice Department reclassifies it, but Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche signed an order Thursday reclassifying state licensed marijuana as a less dangerous drug.
What state is this?
Well, this is federal.
Oh, okay.
Changing a policy that has decades made the drug's potential medical benefits more difficult to research.
Right.
The order from Blanche does not make recreational use legal under federal law. Instead, it moves licensed medical marijuana from Schedule 1, which are the most restricted drugs, such as heroin and ecstasy. You know about those.
Yeah. I've heard of them.
Yeah, okay. To Schedule 3, the same category as some prescription medicines like ketamine and Tylenol with codeine. It also gives a tax break to licensed medical marijuana dealers, and it eases some restrictions on researching its effects.
Good.
Well, I need to open up a medical marijuana dealership to get that tax break, don't I? Maybe I should open up one of those and become a distributor of marijuana. I couldn't do it.
Why not?
Because I'd feel bad if somebody bought it.
I'm all for it.
I'm not saying I'm against it or I would want to close it down. I'm just saying that I would recommend to people don't do it. I think it's more harm than good.
I don't know about that. There's, if people are using substances to relax themselves, like beer or marijuana or something like that, it's all in the same category to me. So I don't care one way or the other.
Yeah.
But
I've seen too many people that have, except for the consequences of overindulgence, and
But I don't want to tell them people don't do it because of that.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'd feel bad.
Yeah, you can advise against it, but let them do it.
I mean, I couldn't see me selling that stuff. Yeah, buy these. These are great, man. In fact, buy a month's supply.
Because then you got to promote it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I've always been opposed to the government telling us what we can and can't put in our bodies.
No, and I don't like cigarettes, but when it came to the state of Arizona voting in a law that forbids you to smoke in public places, I was against that law.
I was okay with that.
See,
because you can't, because the wind blows, you can't stop the smoke.
Well, I'm talking about like inside restaurants.
Right.
Look, if you have a restaurant in this country and you want to call that restaurant "Smoke 'em till you die," you should have that right. But now you don't.
No, you do. If you a designated smoking environment.
Nope.
That's how smoke shops exist.
I don't know how I know Country Club can because they're a private institution, they're not public. I don't know if they make a smoke shop private. Do you have to have a membership or something?
No, there's one on.
I don't know how
Bay
they. I
right
don't know
there.
how they do it then. I don't know. But a restaurant can't, like Texas Roadhouse can't. They can't have a smoking area.
Right.
Used to have smoking areas.
Which didn't
Didn't
stop
work.
the smoke
I
from
never liked it.
spreading. Yeah.
But restaurants were coming around anyway on their own. Many of them were saying all smoke free, smokes free, smoke free.
Yeah.
So the government jumped in on it and says, we're going to make you do it now.
Yeah. I was okay with that because I didn't, even when I was smoking, I didn't like to smoke when I ate.
But see,
I don't want smoke around.
I don't think the government should tell Texas Roadhouse that you can't have cigarettes in half and no cigarettes in the other half. That's the government doing it. Right. I'm against that. Even though I liked it that it's done, I don't think it's right for the government to do it. The restaurant should have done it. And they did.
My issue was the smoke travels, doesn't stay in one area, and so it's affecting other people.
But
and
you
the
knew
government,
that.
Government should protect us against each other.
No,
against each other.
Here's how the government protects it.
What's that?
The restaurant discloses they have smoking area. That protect. Then you know.
All right,
and you can go there or don't go.
We could have gone with that.
Yeah, which all of them did that anyway. How can Trump guarantee that oil will go done when the oil processing facilities have been damaged and will take years to repair?
I don't know.
He talks too much. What he's talking about, this is a listener. He probably dictated it. He's a listener. How can he tell that there's going to be enough oil to supply the whole world's oil after the war, when during this war there's been damage to some of the oil pumps and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
But that's all true.
Yeah.
There has been. And right now, from what I understand, they're having to shut down a lot of the pumps. Now, when they restart those pumps, apparently it changes the oil, but some water might seep in or some stuff, and it changes the amount of, assuming they start back up as normal, they're probably going to produce less because of some reason that I don't fully understand, that water gets in there and stuff. So they might have a reduction of the amount of oil if that pump,
eventually it's going to ramp up again, though. So
yeah, they can ramp it up, but they probably have to drill a new hole, do something different, and in time that takes years, to get it all done. So we're going to have probably Iran will produce a little less oil. We know maybe they only produce 70-80% of what they were producing. If it works that way, that's a potential. So what? We don't. That won't disrupt it. The Strait of Hormuz doesn't just carry Iranians oil.
Right. It's got
Saudi Arabia oil and United Arab Emirates oil.
Well, and not only that, there's other oil producers in the world, and when the cost goes up, they're going to want to be ramping up their production so that they can take advantage of that.
We need the strait open because other countries use it other than.
Well, and that's not. He's talking about after the strait is open.
Yeah, he's talking about after.
Yeah. And after the strait is opened, the global market will, the prices are high. People are going to ramp up their own production to take advantage of the higher prices, which will increase supply, which will eventually lower the prices.
We're already doing that.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. So I'm not.
Of course, it's going to take a while to go. I mean, Trump got in on the drill baby drill promise. Of course, that's going on, but it's ramping up, but it's going to take time to get even more.
I don't think.
Plus, Venezuela is going to be 2-3 times what they're doing now in just a couple of years. And
I don't think oil supply will be a problem after the strait is opened up. I'm
thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
They used to get 100 ships a day through there. So, but if Iran has a decrease in ability,
everyone else will increase theirs.
Everyone's got the capability, and they do.
So,
and Iran may be hurting now. The damage to the system right now isn't really much, except in natural gas. Now, they did damage a lot of the natural gas stuff. It's going to take a while in Iran, but the oil, they didn't damage Karg Island or anything like that. They're threatening to.
Yeah.
If
do it already.
Now that would knock it out for a long time.
Right.
They would produce very little for a while after that, but they haven't done that yet. But I don't mind if they do, and I think we could do without.
There's enough oil sources out there that Iran being diminished is not going to
a big player.
Stop anything. They're a big player. Yeah, but there's it would just distributed around to all the rest of the suppliers, and I think we'll be fine.
We see Edward writes the smoke shop get a majority of their revenue from smoking. I guess going into smoke, you mean?
Yeah, people go in, they buy stuff,
and smoke it there, like a cigar or something. Sit around, smoke a cigar, tell lies.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's no alcohol, is there?
I don't know. I haven't been to one. There's one over by the Navy Federal Credit Union.
Yeah,
I know that.
That's right down. No, that's right next to my shop there.
Oh yeah,
I've never been in it.
Me neither. I've seen it.
I went to some smoky shops in the Ukraine.
Oh, you did?
It had those like hookah. Was it a hookah pipe? Is that
hookah?
What they had? Yeah. But there was alcohol, coffee, and there was a bunch of Iranian kids. You know, I say kids, my kids' age, that really curious about America and stuff. You know, so it was interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Stuff that they hesitate to talk about. My son was trying to keep me.
Shut up, Dad.
Dad, a little bit. A little bit, you know.
That's funny.
Yeah. But they were curious, like all that. They were smart people, though.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, the amount of, you know, I went to Ukraine for my son's marriage. You know, he was getting married in Ukraine, and to a Ukrainian girl. But I before I went, I had to go get a lot of extra shots because it's a third world country.
Right.
Of course, I figured, man, it's gonna be like, you know, like Mexico or something, you know, dirty or something in some areas, but fun. You know, I like Mexico, and I've traveled a lot in past years over in Mexico, and you know, driving along these narrow, stupid roads and dead horses on the side of the road and stuff is not not unusual. I mean, I'm not talking in the tourist traps. I mean, outside and stuff. And I figured Ukraine was like, and it was nothing like that.
No,
nothing.
No.
I mean, this thing, high percentage of people graduate from universities and a high work ethic, and there's just not very much money there yet.
Yeah, I went through Yugoslavia when I was a teenager, and you know, this was in the 80s, and you know, we had the Iron Curtain, and you know, everything on the other side is horrible and terrible and ugly and gray, and it was a beautiful country.
Yeah.
The houses were well kept. The people were kind and interactive and well educated. I went to a youth group gathering down there, and you know, the perception of what we expect on the other side of the world is different. Nowhere near reality. More
Probably true.
Not. Yeah. So I can imagine that would have been an interesting trip.
I would have stayed in Ukraine. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people were friendly and things were cheap.
Yeah.
The exchange rate at the time was 17 or 18 to 1 or something. So my dollar was worth like $18, you know, to their dollars,
right?
Whatever that was. But I got a menu, and I looked at it, and my son had told me that you know, you're going to like the pricing. And I looked at it and I said, you know, it's the same as I get in Yuma. You know, I mean, a beer was like $4 and stuff like that. And he said, Dad, that's Ukrainian money. I said, you mean I get 18 beers for $4? Yes.
If that's the way you want to calculate
it. It's looking better. It's looking a lot better. Yeah, a pack of cigarettes was like 30 cents.
Oh, really?
Like Marlboro. I don't smoke, but I thought about it.
Yeah. Well, for that deal, you can't pass it
Well,
up.
how could I pass that up? It was a big savings. I need savings. Let's see. Kennedy. Oh, I'm sorry. I almost said Kennedy Center. It's the Trump Kennedy Center. You know, it's the Trump Kennedy Center.
It's a memorial center. Trump's not dead. It's the Kennedy.
Well, people have tried.
That's true.
I hope they don't succeed.
Yeah.
We need him. Plus, he makes it news interesting.
He does.
Well, it needs some renovation, and I know some people have complained about that. And they're talking about $257 million in renovations, and I know there's been some jaded people. The left melts down when they called it the Trump Kennedy Center.
I don't like it.
Okay, I think it's hilarious myself.
I think it is funny.
Yeah,
but I don't like it.
I don't mind.
It's going to be taken down as soon as.
Well, that's what they all say. You know, as soon as they do it. In fact, they're going to destroy the ballroom, demolish it. They'll take down the Kennedy sign or the Trump.
I don't think they'll. You know, if the ballroom goes up, I think that'll stay up.
Probably, but there's many.
The names are going to come down.
There's many that have promised to.
But you know, and you know, all these acts were canceling in the Kennedy Center, and so he's like, all right, fine, we'll just close it for a couple of years.
Let me tell you something about
renovate it.
Let me tell you something about the Kennedy Center. Since Trump has been on the board and all that stuff, and done it, it's making money now.
Oh yeah,
you know why it's making money? Because people are going. The attendance is way up.
Well, it was until acts started canceling.
No, I'm talking about after that.
Well, there's no acts.
Yes, there are.
There are still some.
Oh my gosh.
Well, he said he was just going to close it for 2 years and renovate it.
Well, but yeah, after July 4th.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that hasn't done yet. Okay. But right now, he is a builder, a smart businessman.
Right.
And yeah, some of the blue acts canceled.
Yeah.
So good riddance. I guess there's people lining up to go play, and there's people lining up to go see.
I'm sure that's true. People are like, all right, great, I'll take your spot.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah. So we didn't need the radicals, and so the radicals made canceling my.
When I heard the report of him closing for 2 years for renovation, they gave the impression of, well, nobody's doing shows, so he's just going to do some renovating while nobody's doing shows. But yeah, it does make sense. People are like, well, I want to do a show there. So,
the financial gains under the current leadership in December, the officials told Fox News, the Kennedy Center honors raised a record $23 million, nearly doubling the previous year's total fundraising gains. Followed leadership changes that saw Trump take on a more direct role in the institution, including as chairman of the board. So him being chairman of the board made it wealthy.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's going to cost $257 million in renovations. They just raised $23 million last year, and are having a lot of shows that I would rather go see than the ones they were playing.
I didn't pay attention to the shows.
I'm
not going to be there. So
seeing shows like Transvestites on Parade or something, I'm not really interested.
Really?
No, that was just one made up.
You can't joke like that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It might be real.
I apologize. Yeah, see, you're ready to accept it. Well, they released a document on Wednesday that described the decades deferred maintenance and critical infrastructure needs and why it's $257 million. Because I was kind of questioning myself. I said, well, is it in that bad a shape? You got to close it? And a lot of people are asking that. That is fair. Right. That's a fair question to ask that. They plan to close the center for up to 2 years, which is a long time. And if Trump was running the construction program, I would think it would be faster. But I bet this is going through government bids and stuff. He's probably not doing it like he did the White House and stuff.
Well, and it depends
there's bids on
what
that
needs
too,
to be
probably.
done. Do they need to get into the walls and do all the stuff behind
Apparently, they showed a lot of pictures of it that showed, some concrete work where rebar was showing and water damage. And
foundation is a big project.
Yeah, you got to shore it up and then take it out and then rebuild the foundation. That's not easy stuff. And a lot of people say, well, we'll do it while you're open. I mean, that's some of that.
Yeah, you can't.
And a lot of it's electrical too. Apparently the electricals had a lot of leaks and stuff. And there's a lot of rust and water damage to electrical panels and things.
Yeah, that's problematic.
Yeah, I would pull that out. No.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Yeah. So a lot of the building has just reached its life expectancy, and it's time to shut it down. Extensive water infiltration, deterioration, electrical rooms beneath entrances, and long-term damage affecting the center's iconic white marble exterior, as well as concrete and core structural problems.
Yeah.
And I guess nobody did the maintenance.
Right.
You don't stop it.
Well, and it's, in a situation where, everyone's fighting for every penny. We want it for our organization. You want it for that,
Yeah.
It's hard to justify for maintaining something that isn't broken, until it gets broken. So,
well, because not everyone's in the basement seeing what the foundation's doing.
Exactly.
But they were the other day. They had a tour to show people, because there's a lot of questioning, like Trump's just doing this to give his buddies money or something. Probably this article doesn't say, but I would guess that. Well, to shut that up, in fact, they brought let me see, House and Senate representatives, Hakeem Jeffries, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer came in, Mayor Bowser came in to inspect it themselves, and I guess they got to see that
is bad.
I mean, you can't ignore it at that point when you're standing there staring at it, right?
what is this dripping on me?
Yeah.
That's on the list too.
Why is the rebar showing? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's so many times this comes up, with the buildings, they're not being maintained, with the organizations that aren't being don't have the oversight that they're supposed to. Um, every so often you got to win, literally clean house and see what's going on, what can we fix. That's what I loved about Doge,
but it tells me that it shouldn't have got to that
it
point
shouldn't
anyway.
have, but it does.
I know.
People get comfortable. They like day in, day out, and
because it's Trump building now. There's already a lawsuit by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. They've argued that major changes could affect the historic integrity of the building. They want to keep the exposed rebar, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, they're worried about it and all that. And they all want to take the Trump sign down. I hope it stays up.
They might be looking at the difference between refurbishing and renovating. Renovating there might be changes involved. Refurbishing,
and once you get rebar exposed and rusted, I don't know that you want to patch it.
No, you can't, because the rust will follow the rebar throughout.
Going down.
Yeah,
and then on bridges, it causes bridges to fail.
Yep.
I walked across a bridge moments before it failed once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was
you.
It was me. It was a NASCAR event in North Carolina, and it was a pedestrian bridge. It went over the highway, and we left the event, and it was not the regular race. It was the all-star race, which is exciting. They crash a lot. They don't care if they don't finish. But we left with about 2 laps to go because we wanted to get out, hurry, and beat the crowd.
Right.
And we were kind of walking fast across that bridge, and we heard some popping that sounded like, breaking a tree trunk in half. I mean, it was loud. I was like, What the heck was that? It was the rebar failing. Now, as soon as we got off the bridge, I mean, we're off the bridge and going down the ramp to get down to the ground level, when it all fell.
That's amazing.
It fell right on the highway with about 300 or 400 people in it.
Wow.
And it had mesh, fencing over the top and everything. You couldn't get out of it.
Right.
I mean, the people were trapped because it fell right in the middle. And then all the people on the bridge, it's straight and level. When it collapsed, they all slid together all down to the middle. And it was all dead silence. I mean, it was loud. There was people talking and cars and everything. As soon as it fell, you could hear a pin drop. Nobody knew how to. You look at that and nothing makes sense. It doesn't register.
Yeah.
You look at it and say, that didn't just happen.
All right.
That's not the way things work.
Then it gets loud again.
Oh my! The first time I remember somebody inside the pile that probably had a broken something.
Right.
Screamed out, and then it just went up to an uproar.
Yeah.
After that, but there was one voice that started it that realized I'm screwed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they had to cut him out because they had to cut the fencing.
When was that?
Probably 10 years ago or better.
Yeah.
Yeah, look it up in Charlotte.
I think I might have
Charlotte
seen it
bridge
on the
collapse.
news.
Yeah, and I was with about 4 or 5 guys, and a couple. They instinctively wanted to run to help.
Right.
I helped grab them and say, no.
Right.
I mean, they're surrounded by police and ambulances because they're there for the NASCAR race.
Right.
We would have been in the way.
Yeah.
Let them do their.
Well, and you could have become new victims if it was still unstable and it continued.
I don't know how we would have helped anyway. I didn't have wire cutters to cut the fencing and stuff, but they had fire trucks there. They had, I mean, all the fire trucks and everything were right there. Like we're going to be in the way, dude.
Yeah.
Let's get out of the way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll run to help somebody with no problem, but I'm not going to push a cop out of the way to get there. Yeah, I think that's bad form.
Yeah.
But the Kennedy Center, the Trump Kennedy Center.
I knew
it's going to be redone. Well, I mean, it's his name, on it. He worked hard for that. You know what he did for that, don't you? I mean, first he got himself on the board.
Right.
He fired many of the board members that he didn't agree with.
Right.
Hired people that he did agree with, and then they voted him in as chairman and voted to put the name on the building.
Right.
He said, "Oh, I think that's great."
And
that's wonderful.
It amazed me when it went down how quickly the name got on the board on the wall. I was like,
it's like they made it ahead of time.
Yeah, almost like they planned it that way.
Yeah, and I know it makes the left vibrate. You know,
I'm not a fan of it either.
I know that. That's okay. You don't have to be. I myself wouldn't have done it.
No,
but Trump has an ego, buddy.
He does.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's what it takes to run this place.
I do like the idea of the. I'm not going to call it the Trump Arch, but that arch that he wants to build. I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
You know, right there as you enter it's not an island, but you're going across the water to get to DC, and it's got the thing there. I was like, that would be pretty cool.
It's going to be built.
Yeah.
It needs to be built fast, though.
And 250 feet high for the 250 anniversary. I think that's cool.
That is really cool. I don't think they're going to get it done for that, though.
No,
they can't.
No,
get
that would take so much time.
Yeah.
To build, but I like the idea.
It's going to be a memorial to it, you know, to the 250 or for it, whatever. Something here locally, Parks and Recreation is going to host a May 4th Be With You Star Wars movie night.
You're saying it wrong. May the 4th be with you.
Oh, May the 4th be with you.
Yeah.
May the 4th be with you. May the 4th be with you.
Because
it is on May the 4th.
Because
and that's the Force.
It's the line, May the Force be with you.
Okay.
Yeah, May the 4th be
You're
with
right.
you.
I got it wrong. May the 4th be with you. I was saying the May 4th is the date. It is also. That happens to be the date.
Yeah.
Yeah. May the 4th be with you. It's movie night. You a Star Wars fan?
Yeah.
Me too.
Our whole family we love that. We did a Halloween one year where we were all different characters from Star Wars. But we're my whole family were already looking at this.
Oh, you already knew about that?
Yeah, and it's a great deal. You know, you get a dinner for like $12,
and $5
if you want it.
Yeah.
$5 for the movie. It's downtown. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be downtown historic Main Theater, you know, on 254 South Main Street. Yeah. And it's gonna play Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, which I like that one.
One of the good ones.
I haven't seen it forever.
Yeah.
Along with a special preview of The Mandalorian and Grogu. Guests also take part in Star Wars costume contest. I don't have a costume.
There'll be some there. Some of my family members might be in them.
And here's a contest for you. A Wookiee impersonation contest.
I got a family member that might be
participating. Man.
Yeah, that looks like a good time.
There's going to be some nerds there.
There's a couple of us,
Yeah.
So we get excited about May the 4th. For May the 4th be with you. We like Pie Day. We do Pie Day. You know, we look for those kinds of.
I should take Ellen to that. I wonder if she'd be down doing that. There's a Star Wars memorabilia to be on display for event. You can bring some. They'll let you display it. And Prison Hill Brewery will be making a Star Wars themed hamburger dinner.
Right.
Will be available for purchase, offered only in conjunction with the event.
Yeah.
Dinner pickup begins at 4 p.m. and dinner tickets will be sold separately May 1st through May 1st. Movie doors open at 5:15 p.m. with the film begins at 5:50. Now, is that the dinner they're talking about? Dinner tickets are $12.
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay, it's all one then. It's not a dinner there plus a dinner option or something. It's just one. Prison Hill Brewery. Okay, makes sense.
Looking forward to that.
What? It's a Star Wars themed hamburger dinner.
I don't
know
what that means.
I don't know what they do.
I don't know,
That's called Chris Miller. I'll tell you. I just saw. Where did I see him? Oh, I saw him at the mayor's thing on State of the City. Yeah. I went to that and talked to the mayor. Told him, hey, be good to me, man. Make sure it's worth my time. But I saw Chris Miller there. He was there for that. I don't know what he was doing. He might have been helping cater that too. For all I know.
Yeah, that looks like a fun event.
And the city's in good shape.
Well, yeah. I'm county, but
they're really happy with the crime rate coming down every year since.
I've always felt safe in Yuma.
Yeah, I have.
So
I saw some statistics on it. I didn't pipe them up, but the average crime rate in the country and the state are kind of close together.
Mm-hmm.
But Yuma's below both of them substantially.
I believe.
You know, we're very much safer.
And we all have guns just in case.
Yeah, we do. We do. And they had a map there on the city website. If you go to the city website, there's a map there that points out all the crimes, like hotspots where the crimes are being committed and what they were. I don't know the time frame, but you can look in your neighborhood. And we didn't have any in our neighborhood, no burglaries or anything like that. But they're tracking things pretty closely and being transparent about what's going on.
And it helps, figure out where to patrol. Just being visible as a police force helps keep.
And I don't know our police. I mean, I've met him. I've talked to him. Tom Garrity, our police chief. But a lot of people give him high praise, including Greg Wilkinson, who knows him very well. And of course, he was a city administrator for many years. And
well, if nobody knows who the police chief is, he must be doing a good job.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Well, he's doing a bang up job for everything I've heard.
I'm completely happy going anywhere in Yuma.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, don't go to that area." Well, I haven't had a problem.
Well, and I ride my bicycle a lot, and I go through a lot of areas that people caution me on. I've never felt any bad because I carry a gun. I have protection, but and sometimes that's a false protection. Some people think, well, I've got a gun, so I'm going to be able to. And then no, I mean, there's some bad guys out there that may take it from you.
Yeah. As a Marine, I am a weapon all by myself.
So there you go. Yes, you are. That's what I say when I look at you. I say, well, there's a weapon walked in the room.
I've done that sometimes. Are you carrying any weapons? Just me.
Yeah, I'm a Marine.
But you mentioned riding your bicycle. I just got an old bicycle refurbished so I can start riding it. And so I tested it in the parking lot after Mr. B's fixed it up because it had been in a shed for like 8 years.
Okay.
And so they fixed it up for me, and I was testing it in the parking lot. And wow, I need to start riding a bicycle because it wore me out. It took me forever to recover from that. Yep. So I was like, I need to get more active.
I have an electric bike.
Yeah.
It's pedal assist.
Right.
Which means I pedal my butt off. I do. Well, I made a mistake the other day when I plugged in the battery. I forgot that the charger wasn't plugged in, but it was plugged into my bike. It wasn't plugged into the wall. And I didn't think anything about it. I grabbed it and I took off and went to the gym. And I noticed about halfway there, it didn't seem to have the same pep. I mean, I'm pedaling consistently, but I'm not going the same speed.
Right.
Well, by the time I got to the gym, it was dead. I didn't have any battery.
Get home now, buddy.
Well, it's still a bicycle. The difference is when I pedal, I'm going to do 8-9 miles an hour, not 20, not 22.
Right.
And so I did that. I was pedaling home, and I realized that it normally takes me a half hour to get home. It's going to be like an hour and 15 minutes.
Wow.
And I called my wife. I said, do me a favor. Give me the key to the bike because it takes a key to take the battery out, and that spare battery sitting there, And she said, "What's the battery look like?" I said, "It's black, and it's hooked to a orange cable." So there's an orange cable. I said, "Yes." Okay, I'll bring it. Well, she brought it to me, and I had made it to Avenue A around 8th Street or so.
Okay,
and she brought it to me. And I said, "Well, good. I'll get home a little quicker." And what she did was she brought me the charger that had the orange cable on it, not the battery. That's just not knowing.
All you got to do is plug it in now.
Well, it just meant I didn't communicate it well, man. I didn't communicate it well. And no big deal. She was driving the truck. I just threw it in the truck. But I wanted to ride it home the rest of the way.
That was still a ways to go.
Oh, yeah. It's 4 or 5 miles, man. Yeah. But 4 or 5 miles on a 70, 80 pound bike with just pedals.
Right.
It's a big difference in one with a battery assist.
I was considering, to get more active riding my bike to Kofa when I was teaching at Kofa. And I did the math. I was like, it was like 9 miles away. And well, how fast do bicycles go? And so I looked at the Tour de Force winners and stuff and looked at their speed. I was like, that's not fast. I can run faster than that, for a short period. I can, I was like, wow, that would take me like an hour just to get to school,
right?
And then I'd have to shower after, and
and that's why
going home. I was like,
but look,
yeah, we're not doing that.
That's why I like the pedal assist,
right? Because
I can pedal, and get exercise, but I'm adding. The battery's adding to it.
Right.
So I'm going to really get somewhere. I can go 20 plus miles an hour
Mhm.
by pedaling steady and having the battery. So I really get to go places. I
Right.
can go 20 miles in an hour with no problem. But when that battery dies, I'm not going to cover that kind of territory,
No.
man. All of a sudden, I'm gonna go half as far on the
Yeah.
same energy.
I
You
used
know?
to ride everywhere when I was a teenager. I loved being on my bike, and I'd take off and
Yeah.
just go. I didn't realize I had a small circle that I traveled in, now, 9 miles, 10 miles,
Yeah.
down the road to get into town from the foothills, not a
See,
problem, but
if you had a class 2 electric bike,
uh-huh,
you'd be 20 miles an hour getting exercise.
right,
And that's a dynamic change because then your 9 miles would be half an hour.
right.
That might be worthwhile all of a sudden.
Oh, I'll just ride around the neighborhood, so.
But people, they still question. They say, "Well, you're not really exercising. You got an electric bike." I was like, "Yes, I am." But you do see people with them that they're just
Just
resting.
riding it,
They're just
yeah.
resting their feet on the
And that
pedals.
would be the, you're committed to the activity,
Yeah.
where other people are like, "Well, I'm just
Look,
gonna
look.
get there."
I go to the gym, and I've been to a lot of gyms in the past, and you can go to Fourth Avenue Gym and see people that have been there for an hour and haven't lifted
Yeah.
much of anything.
Right.
When I go to the gym, I am nonstop. I mean, when I work an hour at the gym,
Yeah.
I'm drenched.
I used to do, the gym at the college, 'cause you pay, like, 2 credits worth of tuition, and you can use the gym as much as you want any day,
Yeah.
and, so I'd be in there, and I'd be booking it. I would try to see how fast I could walk,
Right.
without breaking into a run. I got to 5 miles an hour, on a walk,
Okay.
and the girl next to me, she'd be on her phone, strolling at, like, half a mile an hour or
Which is
something.
moving.
Yeah, but, she doesn't have, I'm pumping my arms and moving, and she's just hanging out, barely moving.
Well, see, and
Because you get credit for being there,
right.
College credit. So I was doing it to use the gym. She was probably doing it for the
Credit.
credit. So.
And she was moving, the heart rate moving a little bit, and that's better than nothing.
Yeah.
But I go to really work,
Yeah.
and of course I have a trainer. Now the trainer watches the class.
Right.
And he's not gonna let me slack off. But there's always a challenge, you know. It's he'll come by and says, "You need to add 20 pounds in that."
And that
Yeah.
that's a huge benefit, having somebody watching over you, making
Yeah.
sure you're safe,
Right.
you're
And
doing things
good
right,
technique.
and giving you just enough challenge
Yeah.
to grow you without putting you in danger, or
Right.
too little challenge where it's not doing anything. So I think that's fantastic. You got that guy.
Plus,
working
I
with
never know what I'm gonna be working because, he sets all the circuit up.
you. Mhm.
And he just goes through it, and for like 1 month it'll be the same circuit, Monday through Thursday, same circuit, but every week will be you need to change the reps or change something, but then next month it's going to be a different types of circuits. So, but it's with free weights, it's with machines, it's with push-ups, even
Mhm.
calisthenics, all of it.
Yeah.
You're not getting away, and you got to be constant motion for an hour. You're moving from exercise to
There's part
exercise.
of a class. How many people are in the class?
It ranges from 5 to 15.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are they regular
Yeah.
attendees?
Yeah.
So you get to have a group of people you get to
So
know,
people
and,
get to know.
and you interact
Yeah.
with them. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And we keep moving the
Mhm.
whole time. But you'll spend a 10-minute one section doing 3 or 4 different exercises in that section, rest for a minute, wipe your equipment down, move on to the next one,
Yeah.
and you can adjust according to your own abilities and stuff. And if you can do half of it, do half. But
Right.
I go there to push. I do 100% when I can,
Mhm.
and that's it.
Yeah.
And then I'm done. Then I get on the bike and I go home.
There you go.
And so I spend 2 hours when I do that, which is
Every day?
4 days.
Well, still, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It's an hour of bike ride and an hour in the gym. Of course, I'm just getting back to full strength now
Right.
from the heart procedures, but in fact, I'm finding it since the heart procedure, I'm working harder because before the heart procedure, my heart rate would go up so high I'd have to sit down. I'm spending more time in working.
Does your pacemaker like communicate with your phone or something to
Yeah.
tell you how you're doing?
All no, not for the gym. For the gym, I wear a strap around my chest for my
Okay.
heart rate, and it's up on the board, so I can see where my heart rate is all the time because I want to keep it in the right zone.
Okay.
But my pacemaker does keep track of everything,
Uh-huh.
but not where I could visually see it right,
Oh, okay.
right away. And and I get my phone and my watch keep close track on my heart more than it's more accessible to me.
Uh-huh.
In fact, it keeps track of my sleeping, it keeps track of my average heart rate overnight,
Yeah.
all that stuff. And my pacemaker's set up to where I don't go below 60 because that's the reason I had it was to beef it up.
Right.
Quite often my average heart rate overnight is 59.
Uh.
So I know the pacemaker's kicking in like it did dips and then kick in,
Right.
kick it dips, it kicks in, which means I needed it.
Right.
I needed it, and I haven't talked to the cardiologist yet about adjusting. I've read where some people the 60's too high for them. They take it down to 50, 55.
Huh.
Which is what I'm used to. I'm
Yeah.
used to 50, 55.
Well, and the more physically active you are, the stronger your heart is, and you don't need much as fast a heart rate
Right.
as other people. My dad would always tell the story of he went in for a checkup, military doctor, and this young kid right out of school kind of gets this. He says his face went white, and he just kind of looked at me for a second. This is my dad talking. And then he said, "I'll be right back." He comes back with an older doc, and who checks him out. He says, "So, are you physically active?" He says, "Well, I do some running." "How much do you run?" "Oh, 15, 20 miles a day,
Oh,
three,
gosh.
4 times a week." He said, "Oh, you're fine." But his heart rate was so low, it'd be boom. And then it would wait for a little while, and then boom, and the young kid just was like shocked that this heart rate was so low.
Well, mine started going down because of the exercise and what I was doing in the gym, and I lost 35 pounds and all that kind of stuff. And but it started going too low. I mean, I got down to 32 beats a minute.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they didn't like that.
That's too low.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
In fact, I didn't know it was going that low. After I got the notice that they wanted to put a pacemaker in me, and I fought it. I said, I don't need that. That's hardware I'd just as soon not have.
Right.
And then I started checking my pulse a lot more, and I put the chest band on, so it was on my phone. And my wife was curious, and Helen asked me, "Well, how low does it go?" And I said, "Oh no, let me calm down here for a little bit. Just sit down." And went right down to 32.
So it kind of had like a Hakeem Jeffries in the Kennedy Center response. "Oh,
yeah,
that is bad.
That is bad." I got one of those. I said, "Well, maybe they're right. Maybe I need a pacemaker. I have no idea." Which is an electrical thing,
Right?
And the AFib I had is electrical,
right?
Too much electrical.
And I thought that's what was. I thought that was the cause for them putting the pacemaker in. I didn't know you had a low heart rate.
Well, and the AFib can cause a low heart rate too. And that was my question. Like, well, what if they fix the AFib and I don't need the pacemaker? I've already got this hardware in my chest. I didn't really want it.
Right.
And
well, now you're the bionic man.
Yeah. I've got an e-bike and an e-heart. I'm consistent, and I check the battery all the time. I'm still good for 12 years.
You are an EV.
Yeah, I am one. I've got an electrical cyst. Yeah, I check it, and my daughter was worried about my health. And everything. She said, my dad's getting a pacemaker. I said, don't worry about it. They gave me the extended range. I got 12-year life. I got the 12-year life on my pacemaker. They must see something good for my future. Well, let's see. Let me see. Edward commented on the Kennedy Center. We were talking about the Kennedy Center, and liberal acts cancel, but the replacement groups and plays are mostly sold out. I had to pull strings to get us into a performance. This is why they need to close to renovate. Well, okay. The reason they need it is he sent me an article I've already seen talking about the pictures and everything with it. When you look at it, you're like, oh, that's not minor.
Right.
That's not minor.
And that didn't come out in the, like I said, the mainstream media was saying, well, he's just doing it because all the acts are canceling. So,
Well,
take advantage of it.
It's amazing that's what the mainstream does. And it gave you the impression, wow, they're hurting. They're not getting acts.
Right.
No, they're sold out.
But it does make sense if people want to. I would suspect that anybody in the arts would love to perform there. And so if a spot opens up, they're going to be able to fill it. So, but even with that story of, well, the acts are canceling. Well, that makes sense then. If the acts are canceling, let's take the opportunity and renovate it and put it back to good working order.
Yeah.
Even that was a good decision. If nobody's going to be in there anyway, let's fix it up. So I didn't have a problem with either story, but I do like the idea that people are using.
Well, and it'll give them a chance to do the exterior too. They're going to do some saying, and then they can put the Trump name in gold. Not a fan of that either.
No.
Huh? See how you are?
He does go over gold.
He is gold.
Oh my goodness.
He does.
Oh, it's too much gold.
Yeah. He does like it. He's made a big difference to the Oval Office. I'm sure whoever goes in there is going to strip all that out.
Well, every president goes in and makes it their own.
Yeah, they do.
There's gonna
change the carpet and the drapes.
There's going to be a lot of gold coming out of there.
Don't throw it away. Yeah. Yeah. And that's save all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the new ballroom's going to have a lot of gold.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they've finalized the interior design, but
some of it
that's going to be. I like the idea.
I like it too.
Some
of it's already being made.
He upset a bunch of people the way he did it. As usual, I like what he's doing. I think he could have done it different ways, but
Chris,
I like the ball.
Tell me what he could have done that nobody would have been upset.
Oh well, that's true.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
So just do it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've been telling him. Just do it already.
Just do it. Just pull the scab off. Let's go. There's a lot of that's already been made. There's going to be so many chandeliers, and the crystal needs to be cut for that. They're already cutting it.
Yeah.
It's already going because it's going to take so long to complete all that stuff.
And it's the people's house, and he's making a massive change to it.
Yeah.
But people keep harping on the cost of it. We're not paying for it. He's got donations coming in.
What about free? Don't they like?
Yeah, and it's going to get that underground facility for the
military.
For the military.
Now, they didn't expose that right away, but because there was so much nastiness going on, they had to explain to Congress what was going on, I guess, or something. So it came out,
and that's a good thing that we're getting that
secure
for free. Because it's being paid for in all these donations.
I wonder if that's I didn't ask the question. That part might be tax dollars.
Okay.
I would think.
Either way,
I don't know.
Even so, the building on top of it isn't tax dollars, so that's being paid for. That's still beneficial.
And I'm not sure one way or the other. It may all be for free, but I would think that the military is going to run that part of it.
Yeah, the justification for needing a ballroom makes sense. Because they were all outdoor events, which it might rain or something like that. But then you brought up the point, a few months ago. Well, the women walking around in heels,
they were.
I was like, I didn't think of that because I don't walk around in heels. It's interesting that you were aware of that.
Not an expert,
but it makes sense. It's throughout history, the leaders have always done events for other leaders to demonstrate the majesty of your country. We didn't have a place to do that.
And here's something else about the ballroom. You just mentioned leaders. There's going to be world leaders all gathered together.
Mm-hmm.
The ballroom is bulletproof and bomb-proof.
Yeah.
The tents aren't.
All right. That's some tough Kevlar.
Yeah, that's a really tough tent.
Yeah.
They made the tent out of something special. No, this is so the windows on these things are like 40 feet tall and 3 inches thick or something.
I'd like less gold, but otherwise
I want more gold. More cowbell, more gold. The artillery in the United States Army, we test that here.
Right.
And there was an article here coming out of YPG, Human Proving Grounds. its testing encompasses all facets of the king of battle. The king of battle is artillery, I guess. And they're on the cutting edge of testing, and they're talking about modular artillery charge systems, MAX, which serves as the propelling charges of the 155 millimeter artillery rounds. You see a lot of that in Ukraine.
Okay.
And they're going through thousands of
Sure,
rounds and
yeah.
everything. Apparently, they're using older equipment with newer rounds and stuff, and it's up to YPG to test it to see how it affects the barrels and all that kind of stuff. And they call something called the M231 the low zone component fire, either singly or in pairs in the shorter ranges, and the M232, which is high zone component fired in multiples of 3 to 5 for extended ranges. But it's new cartridges for old equipment, and they've got a piece of equipment there that was developed in the early 2000s as a complement to the Crusader self-propelled howitzer. And they said something about it that the Crusader has never been fielded
in war, in
yeah,
combat.
that's what it says.
Interesting.
And they've been testing it, and they've even updating it and stuff like that. Which I guess that's the way the world works. You know, you build all that stuff,
so you don't have to use it.
Well, and a lot of our stuff, shells and artillery shells and all those things, they have a best use if by date, best use date, like a loaf of bread.
Yeah, you always got a couple extra months.
Well, yeah. A lot of that stuff went over to Ukraine, and normally the military has to dispose of it, and you have to hire people to come in and do that. It's very expensive. It was actually cheaper for us to give it away. To a friend.
But somebody would complain about it, I'm sure.
Yeah. The Steve Flores is a long-range precision fire integrator. He said that self-propelled howitzer MAX was necessary to accommodate the platform's ammunition autoloader. Prior to that, the propelling charges in use by the Army were bag-based.
Yeah.
So they had to do that separate to load it. That's
well, yeah, they would. My dad was artillery in Vietnam, and he would talk about, they'd figure out where they wanted it to be. They knew what projectile they were using, so it needed so much force at a particular angle, and so they had bags of propellant. That they could, it might need 3 bags, might be two bags, might need 5 bags, so they could adjust the charge behind the propellant, the projectile.
Apparently these are bag-based and are not anymore.
Yeah.
He says but apparently they can update, still keep using the same equipment. And then the job at YPG is to go out and fire the heck out of this thing and then take it apart and test the barrels, see if there's any stress on it, stuff like that. And they've got some tanks they put it in, water tanks where they can run some tests on it. They can take pictures of it and see if there's any stress points on it and all that kind of stuff. In fact, one of the pools, the tank holds 1,400 gallons for the larger guns. It can accommodate it, but they use the same technology they use in the petroleum industry to inspect pipes to make sure it's all done. So a lot goes into this.
Oh yeah. When people talk about defense spending, it's not just the making of the weapons, it's the research, the development, the technology that goes into it, the testing.
And they got to do it under extreme temperatures, cold and hot.
Yeah.
They don't want to get surprised in the field. That's what saves soldiers' lives.
Yeah.
They know it's going to work versus sending it out there without. But YPG has been doing that work silently. I say silently unless you live nearby because you hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mentioned before, I've got that ring cam doorbell thing in the online. We're all connected online, and people are, you can always tell when there's a new resident in the area because, like, did anyone hear that? What was that? And you'll get 30 responses within a second. YPG. Right now.
YPG.
We know what it is.
Oh, you're close enough to YPG.
Oh yeah. We see the flares that they drop in the air every so often.
Oh yeah.
And people, is it an alien invasion? No, it's YPG.
And I used to pay a lot more attention. I used to go out to YPG quite a bit, and
P111 does stuff too. Yeah.
But to just see what they're doing, and I talk to the colonels and stuff like that, and get them on air with me a lot, and delve more into the testing. And they would invite me out. I mean, I've ridden on tanks out there, and I've been invited to participate in the observation of a lot of their testing stuff when they bring in foreign leaders, which they bring in a lot of foreign leaders at times to test different drop systems and UAVs. And of course, there's a lot of places I'm not allowed to go in. I said, "Can we go in there, Colonel?" And no.
No, you cannot.
No, you cannot go in there. I can always ask.
Yeah.
But I was friends with Chuck Willenjohn, who was public relations out there. Before Mark's running it now, but I just haven't spent the time that I used to. I used to travel out there quite a bit, and I would be there for all the exchange of leadership and all that kind of stuff. But I've not been as engaged as I have been. I'm trying to do it more now. In fact, that's why I went to the state of the city. Although I was invited by Pastor Tyrone Jones.
Oh, okay.
I hadn't put it. I hadn't even put it on my calendar. But his secretary texted me and said, "Would you like to attend with him?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then people said, "Well, what'd you do wrong, Russ?" Like, I said, "Nothing that I know about. Nothing I know about." Yeah. But no, it was good to go, and I thank him immensely for that. I need it's I have not engaged as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Especially when I was county supervisor and stuff. I was out there quite a bit.
Well, there's a cause then. You actually engage.
Yeah, but I was doing it before too, though, because just because of the radio station and stuff, and because I wanted to be involved, and the media badge helps a lot. It does.
I'm sure it does.
To get you in. In fact, at one time, the city used to have a media. They gave me a media pass. Which I guess they were supporting at one time, that you had to have a media pass. And I could put it in the windshield of my truck and all that stuff. And I had that for a little while and stuff, so I could drive up on something, like, there's something going on there I don't really care about, but I just want to see if this works. And they look at me, "Oh, Russ, shut up, man."
Before you start that story there, because I want to make sure it's talked about before 9 here. There's some ballots some petitions going around trying to kill ESA.
Really?
You haven't heard about them?
No.
No, AAA.
SOS doing that, I'm sure.
Yeah, AAA and SOS have paired up on one of them where they're using words like accountability and
it's all lies
and transparency and things like that. And it's just they're using fancy words to try to kill it through
say it's going to bankrupt us and all that. And it saves us money.
They want to limit it to people that make less than 150,000. 150,000 is not wealthy. I don't know where they got that number.
I don't know.
You try to send your kid to private school when you're making 150,000, you're gonna hurt.
Yeah.
But they couldn't kill it in legislation.
Nope.
So they're trying to kill it without saying they're trying to kill it. They're trying to kill it with regulation on the ballot, because once it goes through if it happens on the ballot, it can only be changed by the ballot
because it becomes part of the Constitution. You can't modify it,
right? And so that's sneaky in and of itself. And then they're using that report from years ago where there's a bunch of potential fraud that got investigated and cleared. But they're using it as, look, evidence of fraud. No, it wasn't evidence of fraud. It was, this is what we're investigating to see if there's fraud.
There was a few things that were wrong.
And they got the money back from those.
But that was even before Tom Horn, when they had a Democrat running it.
Right.
Tom Horn's been a lot better at it.
Well, and the point I make is we don't have that list for the public school system because they don't make a list of potential fraud in the public.
And there's been huge, and we read about it.
It's enormous.
Yeah.
So that's the one you're probably going to see, and they're in parking lots all over town right now.
Well, the teachers unions are paying money for that.
Yeah, that's the AEA.
Yeah.
That's the one they're backing. Then there's another petition that I haven't seen, but I've heard about from Americans for Children or something like that. And they're trying to do like a middle ground. We're going to put some regulation in, but not crazy regulation. And I think it's on the side of crazy regulation, because the whole point, one of the benefits of ESA is the lack of regulation.
The money goes into the school kids. The kids is where the money goes. well-meaning senators and representatives for years have been looking at our school system and saying, well, we'd be better if we had this record or that record, that record.
Right.
And they keep making the public schools do more and more bureaucracy, so less and less money goes into the classroom. ESA fixed all that.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to just spend it on classroom, that's where you go.
Yeah.
ESA, a private school, public school, homeschool. And the teachers unions hates it.
Right.
Because they want all the money to go into government schools.
Well, and and they talk about, oh, you're taking money out of the school
No,
system.
you're not.
No, you're not, because the ESA kid only gets like 80%, 90%,
50%.
No, it's more than that.
$7,500 is maximum.
No, of the amount that the state pays per child, the ESA gets like 80%. Well, yeah, I'll back you up.
You're wrong.
I'll back you up.
You're wrong.
Go ahead. It's not as low as 50%, but it it's a percentage. But the point is that extra that doesn't go to the ESA kids gets redistributed among the kids in the public school system. So the public school kid gets actually more money per student because this ESA kid is getting less than his
You're
share.
separating state from federal. But you're right, because no state money goes into the ESA. It's federal money.
No, it's state money.
I'm gonna have to get some clarification on that.
It's state money.
But look,
I do ESA.
I can tell you.
I get paid by ESA.
I know. Well, it goes through the state.
But
The state manages it.
No, it's state money.
State manages it for sure.
Because
it's federal. But
anyway, the people saying, oh, it takes money out of the school system. Overall, yes, but the kid gets more money per kid in the public school system because the ESA kid is only getting a portion of the money allotted to him.
What
the rest gets distributed. So it's the people that are complaining about it are complaining about the money they're losing, not the money the kids are losing.
When a kid goes to school, they get paid about $14,000 by the state. Now that's federal and combined. That's combined. Now, if that kid leaves the public school and goes ESA, then the state's only has to pay $7,500 maximum.
Yeah,
maximum.
Yeah,
they get less, but
the 14,000 is multiple sources, all added together. But of the 7,500 is like 80% of that one source.
Okay, but it's half the money. It's total, and a lot of that's, and then from what I understand, that's mostly federal money that goes into the state. And you're going to disagree. Well, we'll get clarification. And I'll talk about it tomorrow. But those are the things I've read.
Yeah, but then
it all goes.
Both of us can agree then that excess that the ESA kid is not getting
stays in the state,
stays in it, and it gets distributed among the kids that are in public school. So the kids in public school actually end up with more money.
But here's what they're looking at. They're looking at, like, okay, we used to have 1 million kids in let's just say 1 million, and you took 10% away to put it over to ESA. We lost 900. We lost 100,000 kids times 17. $14,000. We lost all that money because. Because you don't have to have teachers. You had less teachers and all that stuff. You don't have to grow your facilities. Well, they want it all.
Yeah.
The public education. They don't want competition. And the only reason they lost it was because of competition.
Yeah.
People said, I don't want to go to that school anymore. I'm going to do something else.
And they're not taking into account, they're talking about, we don't have as many kids in the public school system. But a bigger issue than that, than the ESA kids, is there's just fewer kids. The population growth is declining. People aren't having kids as early as they did. They're not having as many kids as they did. The bigger reduction in class students for the classroom is from the public's, the younger generations, child development, having children. More so than the ESA. So they're not, they don't talk about that. They don't bring that into the conversation. They're just targeting ESA because, you can target that. You can't target parents that aren't having kids, but you can target ESA and try to kill a program that's benefiting so many people. And that's one of the reasons I tried to start my own school is I saw the kids in my classroom that are not being benefited by the system. And the system cannot benefit every single kid. There's kids out there that need things that just can't be supplied by it when you're teaching 40 kids in a room. And they say, oh, well, teachers are going to lose their jobs. No, because the public school system, they'll have 40 kids in a room with one teacher. Private school, they'll have 20 kids per teacher. So you actually need more teachers when when we encourage the public school system. They won't be teaching in your district, but the teachers will have jobs and they'll be happy with their jobs. They'll be more effective in their jobs.
All right, my artificial intelligence telling me you're right, that it was state dollars that goes to ESA. I mean, I don't mind telling you.
No, yeah, I've done a lot of research into it because as soon as it came up, I was like, this is a great idea. And then when I started my own school, I relied on the ESA funds, and I still do it as a tutor. And I'm encouraging everybody to get into
So
it.
it's paying 90% of what they would have paid
from that one source, though, like you said.
From state funding.
Yeah, there's a lot of other sources.
So they save 10% on that, but then they get to keep the federal all to the.
Yeah. So all the other money is going to the public school kids.
But they care more about getting all the kids in. They want it all. They don't want to have competition.
I think they care more about their incomes, because you're talking about administrators and all kinds of people that are
in the union,
getting paid really well.
Yeah,
much more so than the teachers.
Administrators make good money.
Yeah,
I mean, between $100,000 and $200,000 a year.
Yeah, and we have way more administrators.
Yeah, it used to be. They all have assistants now.
Yeah,
assistant principals, assistant superintendents, lots of them.
Yeah, and they all have their own category. They have sports assistant, we have an academic assistant, and so on and so forth. But every administrator has another administrator being an assistant to the administrator. I was like, well, how's their job so big that they need all these different assistants?
But it's a lie when they say ESA is costing the state. It's not.
It's not
saving money for the state.
Saving money, yeah.
But they say that because it moves it from one pot to another, and they don't like it. Yeah. They want it.
And we can identify and I'm not going to say fraud because that implies intent. There's always intentional fraud in anytime money's involved. But most of the occurrences of potential fraud that they found was people that just didn't understand. Well, I'm not supposed to use it for this, so I did the paperwork wrong for that, and they've recouped the money that they identified as improperly spent out, and identified the ones that were legit, and that's all good. The amount of fraud that they've found in the system is less than 1%.
Yeah.
But you look at the public school system.
They're a lot more scrutinized, and they're a lot more gone over than the state.
The public school system has no oversight.
Well, in some cases, and our treasurer has given us a lot of times, lectures on that.
Yeah.
When she came to town, Kimberly Lee talked about some superintendents that were oblivious to the money going where it shouldn't have gone, and to the fraud and stuff in the public schools is heavy. And they had to go, the treasury had to go in and straighten it out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to her getting in. I think she's going to be a powerful force in the education of Arizona. Yeah. But if you see a petition out there, don't sign either one of them. It doesn't matter which one. Neither one of them should be passed.
Right.
So don't sign either one of them. And the AEA one, they tried it last election cycle, and it didn't get on the ballot because, one, they didn't have enough signatures, but they pretended they did. And two, of the signatures they had, a whole bunch of them were invalid.
Well, a lot of these kids are getting paid. People are getting paid to get signatures.
Yeah.
And they'll get some homeless guys to just write some names down out of the phone book.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to one of the kids just yesterday, and he didn't, he has the script that he's told to.
But he doesn't know what it is. He just has script.
But I was like, well, this is what's going on with that. That's what's going on with that. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that. I said, well,
how much was he getting a signature?
I don't know. But I was like, everyone's got to make a living. I'm not going to fault you for having a job here.
What they're paying.
But do some Googling. Make sure you're not part of the problem as you're earning your money. Yeah. Make your own call, make your own decision, but educate yourself, before you start doing this just for the money.
I hope he does.
It has a big impact. I hope he does too. He seems like a good kid.
Seattle's going to lose tax dollars because they're raising taxes. Isn't that something? Makes sense.
How does that?
Well, when you raise taxes, people leave.
There you go.
And one of them is Starbucks. This is Washington.
Starbucks wants to leave.
They are leaving.
Wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah. So they decided in Washington. Now, Washington attracted people over the years because they didn't have any income tax. So people says, well, let's open up in Washington. Let's do it in Washington. Let's do it in Washington, because they didn't have any income tax. Well, they keep spending money on liberal ideas and homeless and attracting homeless and illegals and sanctuary, and it's costing money. So they need more money. Where are you going to get it? You're going to say, well, about time we do an income tax, but don't worry. It's just going to be for the rich people. Of course, that's the way it always starts.
Right.
And they imposed, and it went right to 9.9% income tax. Only if you make more than $1 million a year, so it's not going to affect you.
Not me.
No, it's $1 million a year.
Not directly.
People are leaving, including Starbucks. Now, Starbucks is pulling out, and they're going to Tennessee.
It wasn't Starbucks, really proud about, they started in Washington.
Oh yeah, they're a Seattle-based company.
So
their first stores in Seattle.
It's big enough of an issue for them that they're going to give up their.
They're worldwide. They're worldwide, man. They're all over the place.
But they still promote it. And we just saw a mug in the Starbucks and Target yesterday, promoting their original store.
Well, yeah, they got to get rid of them. They're on sale. They got to blow them out.
Crazy.
They announced they're going to put $100 million investment and bring 2,000 new jobs to Nashville.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and Starbucks has major plans for the newest business location, where it's moving over there. The Nashville office will directly support continued coffee house expansion and rising customer demand, particularly in the southeastern United States, while working closely with the company's global headquarters in Seattle.
And maybe they can bring back the blueberry scone.
I'll ask them.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see what that goes.
We really like that.
Now, Seattle, let me see, Lee, he is the Tennessee governor, says, great to welcome Starbucks' continued investment in Tennessee. It establishes the new Southeastern hub in Music City. This iconic global company, $100 million investment, a testament to our strong economy and unmatched workforce, will create 2,000 new jobs for Tennesseans. The mayor of Seattle, Katie Wilson, I'm not buying Starbucks, and you should not too.
Kidding.
Well, she said that even before. She said that in a rally in November. Now she's saying Starbucks is a core part of Seattle's identity. We're proud to be the home of the first store, its headquarters, and so many of the workers who make the company what it is. We're focused on maintaining a strong partnership with leadership and with employees, so Starbucks continues to succeed in the city where it all began. That's what she's saying right now when she realized
they're leaving.
They're leaving.
Huh.
She announced, it's so stupid. She's the mayor of the city that has this multinational company right there, and says, I'm not buying Starbucks, and you shouldn't either. What are you, nuts?
Yeah, apparently.
So they took $100 million check and gave it to Nashville.
Good for them.
Good for them, right?
Yeah.
And now Katie's changing her tune a little bit. She's doing a little bit of different dance.
What's her new tune?
She loves Seattle now. I mean, she loves Starbucks now. Yeah, we're proud of them now. She went from, I'm not buying them and you shouldn't, to, well, we love them now. She did that in November because Starbucks had a union workers rally. Starbucks was trying to unionize. So Katie went on the side of the union and said, stop buying, boycott Starbucks. Yeah. So Starbucks says, okay, Katie.
And when was the statement about loving Starbucks?
Just recently, within the last few days.
Too little, too late, though.
Yeah, but maybe she thinks I could lose more. I better slow this down. So stupid.
Yeah.
There's a tax foundation that ranks different cities and states and all like that. They ranked Washington State 6th overall in the nation for doing business in 2014 because of the business tax climate index was so favorable. They were 6th in the nation. In 26 now, this year, they're ranked 45th.
Wow. That's huge.
Yeah, they lost some ground. Because they decided we needed more money, we can tax the billionaires. Well, you went right to 45th of being friendly, tax friendly. Well, Washington State Democrats passed the millionaire tax, which Democrat Governor Bob Ferguson signed March 30th. The millionaire tax is the state's first ever income tax, supported by progressive and socialist and opposed by conservatives. The Wall Street Journal editorial board called it a con. After its passage, that will inevitably capture the middle class. Of course, that's the way it always works.
Right.
Well, the million was the wrong level, so we're only going to lower it to 700,000.
Right.
Until we lower it to 500,000.
Until you lower it
to we lower it to what is middle class? Middle class. That's where the money is, middle class.
What was the ranking for the business
tax foundation?
Tax foundation.
6th overall in the nation. Tax foundation.
I'm curious where Arizona is on that.
I don't know.
So tax foundation
ranking.
Business index.
It's just what it's just called. It's tax foundation. Tax climate index.
Tax climate index.
State business tax climate index. Yeah, and type that up, see where we stand. Arizona. I bet we're not 44th.
14th.
We're 14th?
Yeah. Arizona.
That's not bad.
14th. No, that's great. On the tax foundation 26 state tax.
So we haven't gone too progressive yet.
No, we're in good shape.
Yeah, we need to slow down that progressive stuff and keep that away from us, man.
Well, we can let the other states do it. They'll keep us up high.
I read here that the Colorado River crisis deepens is the headline.
Oh.
And of course we've been in a drought since I've lived in Yuma, pretty much. I moved here in 95. I think we had lots of water in 95, but it's been declining since I've been here. And it wasn't me. I'm not using that much.
Right.
But
lots of water is a relative term. So.
Well, in 95 is right after the floods. We had the floods where the Gila River flooded, and we had to release water from the dam because we had too much of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean, lots of water. We had to release it. Nobody's talked about releasing because we have too much in a lot of years.
No.
Yeah, but that was right before I moved here. I think that was like in 94 or something. They had to release water. They were just getting inundated with water. When we got too much water, what are we going to do with it?
Yeah.
Send it to Mexico. Give it to Mexicans, when we did that. Not now.
No.
We're fighting over drops of water all over the place. The system's down to 36% of capacity. It's been in the 30s for years, off and on. The cause of those declining water levels are multiple. It's not just one thing, but certainly in this year we didn't get any help from Mother Nature. That's Sarah Porter, and they're talking about reducing releases from Lake Powell to about 6 million acre feet, potentially the lowest level in decades. Reclamation officials say that the purpose is to respond to an entirely dry year, unusually warm temperatures that have cut runoff flowing into the system. And there's an urgent concern about protecting the hydropower production. That's got a hydropower plant there, and the Glen Canyon Dam. There are really two big reasons behind the Bureau announcement. This one is trying to keep the Glen Canyon Dam producing hydropower. Now, to stabilize the system, the Bureau proposed include sending less water out of Lake Powell to keep the lake level higher and allow Glen Canyon Dam to continue operating. The plan also calls for moving additional water into Lake Powell from Flaming George Reservoir, which currently holds more water than other parts of the system. We aren't expecting a cut so deep that it will hit Yuma agriculture now. That's according to Sarah Porter.
Yeah.
It is going to hit, as I mentioned, cities, tribes, industries in the Phoenix and Tucson area. Those are the lowest on the protected list. We're high on the protected list, but again, who knows?
Yeah, we're only protected until
I mean, the thing is that everybody has water, so we don't have to worry about it. We don't expect a cut from Yuma agriculture, which would be devastating to Yuma.
Yeah, well, the world
provide at least the country
for the
for the country for sure. Yeah. A lot goes around the world, but that's a sensitive area too. How many people are sensitive about that? Like, there's these places that are owned by foreigners that grow alfalfa and stuff, and they send it overseas, and people are just going nuts about it. But they were exporting our water essentially because you use water to grow that product, and then it goes overseas. But you realize what percentage of dates that we raise in Yuma that go overseas?
Yeah,
it's probably 60-70%. The amount of citrus goes overseas is huge. I know I've spoken with Rocky Curtis in years past with Curtis, and they it's like 70% of the lemons go to Japan.
Uh-huh.
That was a big deal at the time. I don't know if it still is, but it's been a while. The seeds we grow, we have a lot of seed farming, goes all over the world.
Yeah.
It does. A lot of it goes all over the world, but they picked on the alfalfa, which, there were regulations put in. You can't grow alfalfa and send it to Saudi Arabia or something. I don't know. It was something, but we're getting that tight on water that people are just going to do stuff to keep it. And pretty soon it's going to say, well, wait a minute, you send 70% of your seeds overseas. I mean, is that coming next? Or you can't send your dates overseas?
Right.
We send a lot of dates to a lot of foreign countries, all these date farms. We're not eating them all.
Right.
So is that exporting water? Or is that just it's an industry that supports the United States?
And there's a lot of places to look at, where, misusing the water at the very least and wasting water and things like that. And I don't think the agriculture is the place to look at it. They do a great job of maintaining their.
They've got a track record
system.
that's just phenomenal. Yeah. They do. I mean, there's more yield on every drop of water all the time. They use less, produce more.
Right.
And they really laser leveling and all the stuff they do, and the drip irrigation.
Well, and the crop selection and rotation, they're doing a great job. So
they really do.
Stop harping on them.
Probably some of the best in the world.
Yeah.
On what they do.
I would not be surprised at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not bad, but at the end of the day, it takes a lot of water to grow crops.
Yep.
It does. I mean, you could have a lot of golf courses.
Yeah.
And there's people that own golf courses or want to own golf courses that are looking at that and say, we need to get rid of that food so we can play golf.
That's where we should be targeting.
And have a pool in the backyard.
Yeah.
And
I have a pool in the backyard.
And grow grass. Yeah. Good for you. Keep it. Let's see. There's assault charges on an immigration officer in Colorado. And I hate this stuff. These sanctuary states and these states that are anti-ICE, kill ICE, get rid of ICE and all that stuff,
Right.
They've been trolling the ICE officers and taking, encouraging everybody, take film, take pictures, docs, take all this stuff, find them doing something wrong. So a lot of people put them put themselves in harm's way.
And when you have that much surveillance, somebody is going to make a mistake.
Maybe
it's going to happen, and it'll be caught. And then some people make something that looks like a mistake, but it's not. And that's going to be caught on camera. And those are going to be blasted out there.
Oh, they are. And there's not that many when you consider, what ICE does for a living is the tough job.
Right.
Okay. Your police officers out on the street do a tough job too, but they don't necessarily get up every day knowing that I am going to go after hardened criminals.
Right. Exactly.
These guys go after hardened criminals.
Yeah.
And the regular police officer is going to run into them too occasionally.
Yeah.
But generally their daily schedule is to monitor, take care of traffic, take care of crowd control, take care of things.
Protect and serve.
Protect and serve. Not necessarily, we got a list of highly dangerous guys, let's go after them.
Right.
I mean, there's groups inside police forces that do that. But that's not the rookies. But that's what ICE is. Well, there's a video out there of them, and they put masked federal agent. Yes, they're masked when they're doing those jobs because they don't want to be doxxed. They put themselves and their family in danger.
Exactly.
So they should be masked. And they're seizing a 57-year-old woman who says she was put in a chokehold during a protest in Durango, Colorado. And Colorado is among several states that prohibit or severely limit the use of chokeholds and the neck restraints by police officers. But immunity provisions under the U.S. Constitution and the federal law limit the reach of local authorities in prosecuting federal agents. Okay. Which is true.
Right.
I mean, they're doing their job.
Right.
And the Trump administration immigration enforcement taxes have spurred an array of investigations by state and local authorities. That's all true. Mm-hmm. But his tactics are the same as Obama's tactics and everybody else. It's not any different.
Right.
But they hate Trump.
Yeah.
And they want to be a sanctuary city and they want to have no enforcement.
Right.
So earlier this month, a federal immigration agent was charged with 2 counts of second-degree assault by a county prosecutor in Minnesota amid investigations into the actions of several immigration and custom enforcement officer, and I won't even give his name. He's accused of pointing his gun at an occupant of a car, and I remember that one, pulling alongside her on Minnesota Avenue. So these couple things. The Minnesota official have sued the administration for access to to evidence for investigations into the 3 shootings on the crackdown, including those that result in the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Pretty. And they're not entitled to that.
Because
that was Minnesota.
Yeah. This is not Minnesota.
No. Well, it includes all of it.
Oh,
but
okay.
one of it's Colorado. And I'll get to that. They talk about Chicago. There was a 68-year-old protester who was filming.
Okay. I thought it was all the same incident.
No, but there's I'll get back to Colorado. Okay, let me talk about the Colorado one. The altercation in Colorado arose from demonstrations over the detention on October 27th of 3 Colombian asylum seekers, a man and 2 children. They were on their way to school in the morning. In late October, protesters gathered outside ICE facility in Durango, a college town and designation for outdoor recreation in the San Juan Mountains or southwest Colorado. Multiple videos show a masked federal agent, I love that mask, in what he described as a chokehold. Chokeholds have been in the center of public discourse in the state legislative initiative about what constitutes an unreasonable use of force since Eric Garner died in New York in 2014. I remember that. He was selling cigarettes or something.
Right.
And then he fought with cops after he was put in chokehold by a police officer. He was a big, heavy guy, overweight, and he was fighting them, and they put him in a chokehold, and he died.
Right.
Staggy, a retired hypnotist, said she reached for the agent's shoulder. In other words,
retired hypnotist. I'm already sketchy.
Yeah, reached. Well, she's one of the progressives that's trying to get in the way. Very successfully. Grabbed the guy's shoulder. ICE agents don't like that.
No,
that's assault.
Right.
Especially when they're on high alert and they're in the middle of chaos and all that kind of stuff. You grab their shoulder.
Right.
You're not going to be met with a very kind response. So don't grab shoulders of ICE agents. And that he then grabbed her by the hair, put her neck in the crook of his arm, and carried her across the street by her head before throwing her down on an embankment next to the street. Sounds reasonable. I've never done that, but okay. Now, the Nicholas Rice, he's the Customs and Border Patrol Protection Officer, committed 3rd-degree assault by causing bodily injury. But the documents don't describe how she was injured or make mention of the chokehold. Court documents didn't list any attorney as representing the officer. But what she claims it was a chokehold,
right,
and all that, and multiple people saw it, and I think I saw the video of him throwing her down. It was not kind. She wasn't kind either, and he's in the middle of doing his job, and basically you put your hands on an officer, it's assault,
right,
and they have to react accordingly,
right.
But this is all, I mean, a lot of these people that do it, like the Francis girl, she was there for one reason. Disrupt.
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah.
But she went too far. She assaulted an officer, grabbed an officer. And I don't think she was charged or anything. The officer just took her out and threw her over the side of the road.
Right. Said,
goodbye. Get out of here. And now they're wanting to charge him. But he's immune from that. According to the Constitution, I mean, he's under federal.
Right.
I mean, if there's a federal problem, it's federal charges, not state charges.
Well, and we have to have that kind of a protection for federal officers because they go from state to state to state. They can't be trained in every state's legal requirements. So the federal government, Trump's state government, they're following the federal procedure. The federal organization can investigate claims of bad procedure, and the state, you can report it. Hey, I think this was wrong.
Yeah,
but the federal government determines that.
And the federal government does cooperate with local investigations and stuff, but not in Minnesota because they refuse to work with the feds.
Right.
So you shun the feds. You don't want to communicate with the feds, and now you're saying, I can't believe they don't communicate with me.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's right. Oh, but she was. I mean, it's Staggy says she's disappointed. Rice was charged with less serious crimes, but but she wanted him to be charged. She wanted him.
Who's this lady?
Say the girl that was thrown down. Okay. She's disappointed.
Right.
That she was.
Yeah, she would be. I understand that.
Well, yeah, she wants some death penalty for all of them. They don't like them.
Well, if somebody grabs you by the neck and throws you out, you're probably going to have
Yeah,
an issue
well,
with that person.
you don't run out in the middle of the street when there's a lot of protests and riots and grab the shoulder of a cop.
Yeah.
Something bad's going to happen to you.
Well, and even if you're doing a peaceful protest,
It
where
doesn't
you
matter.
resist arrest, and you flop down, that's wrong too.
Don't put your hands on
obey,
them, buddy. A spokeswoman for the Department of Homeland Security says states do not have the authority to investigate such cases. Federal officers acting in the course of their duties can only be investigated by federal agencies.
Good.
Conducted by ICE officers under additional scrutiny aimed at rapid hiring spree and the evidence that applicants with questionable histories were not fully vetted. So I hope this all gets settled, but they're just gonna do all they can to muck it up. These sanctuary states that want to kill ICE, they want to have illegal aliens all over the place, and the laws are the laws. If you come into the country illegally, you get deported.
That's
the law.
That's the law.
But now people complain, but what about their families and stuff? What about the families of a bank robber? You just don't come into the country illegally. Get it right.
Well, and
if you do, you risk deportation, and that's what's going to happen.
And people make decisions that affect their family. That's just the nature of things. They made a decision to come into the country illegally, and that decision is going to have an impact on their family.
Let me tell you,
that's not our fault.
Do you realize that the country right now is at a low point for crimes?
Yeah, you were saying that earlier.
So, and of course, it's related to this, cleaning up the streets from illegal activity, and that illegal activity has included people in the country illegally. Now, ICE officers primarily are going after the most dangerous, the guys that are creating felonies on top of being illegal.
Right.
That is their focus. That's their direction. I mean, you may get caught up in it if you're a friend with a felon and he happens to get raided that day. You may be in the room with him, and they'll say, "You too." You're going with him. But that is their main. And so, getting these people off the street, getting MSN 13 off the street, our country is going through more crime-free times. Lower crime rates, particularly in like District of Columbia.
And it's making me wonder, these sanctuary cities, most people go about their daily lives not really caring about the politics or anything like that, and they just go about their business. But now that it's being so prominent in the news and people are talking about it, I wonder how many of the common people are like, well, yeah, they should be deported. I live in this sanctuary city that I didn't know anything about sanctuary city. I didn't know I was in one, but yeah, they should be gone, but their establishment is already established. And how do you break that up if you're in that?
You get all the information out right now. It depends on who you're listening to and what you're talking to, where you're getting half story or full story. But there's a lot of people say, "Well, Jose down the street, he just loves his family and he's trying to take care of them. How can you deport him? He's a great guy and I love him and he's great for the community and he picks up his trash and all that. So we're going to make an exception for that crime."
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you can't. It's
not about the crime.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not about whether he's a good guy, bad guy. He's in the country illegal, although that's not the focus of ICE.
Right.
Focus of ICE, justifiably, and let's get rid of these guys first.
Yeah.
But everybody in the country illegal better get it right.
And when you were describing this Jose guy that lives down the street, there's I watch a lot of Netflix, way too much, I'm sure. Okay. But they're promoting that old show West Wing from years ago. And the scene that they used for the promotion, it was a good show. I loved it. The scene that they're using in their promos is the president talking about these people from Cuba, and they went through a storm and people died and they want a better life and they want it here. And the way, because Martin Sheen, he can deliver any line.
Yeah.
But the way, they set that up, you're like, oh yeah, my heart goes for these people. We need to take care of them. But then you think about, there's right ways and wrong ways to do that.
Sure.
Yes, I want to help out the people that got here properly. They did their
and we have laws to enact that.
And bring them in. Let's make them part of our country. Let's grow our country with
fill
people
an application.
Want to be here legally. And, but we can't. And even Trump, Obama mentioned, when he was talking about immigration years ago, I saw a clip of him. He's like, I understand the heart wants to help people that need help, but there's a right way to get in here and a wrong way to get
He
in
did
here.
at the time. He's changed his tune.
Yeah, but
because he's not responsible anymore.
but I understand the impulse to help,
It's
but we've got to do it the right way.
I appreciate you, man. We're out of time.
You always
The
do
right
this to us.
we got to go.
Although my voice is done anyway.
Yeah, your voice sucks. I'll be back tomorrow.